Hello and welcome to Small School Saturday. We are live from Ferris State University ahead of an incredible matchup this afternoon. We've got Grand Valley State, the Lakers, coming into Big Rapids to take on, in Top Taggart Field, the Bulldogs from Ferris State. Fellas, this is a special
Pretty
one.
Sweet.
We've got a special trophy. This is the Anchor Bone Classic, boys. This is a trophy that is, maybe missing a full-on anchor and bone, but nonetheless, a lot of memories have been shared with this one. You can see, if you look closely, it's pretty roughed up. These two teams, that's kind of exactly how they play.
That's the beauty of a traveling trophy. It should be scuffed up. It should be a little messy, but nonetheless, we love it.
Yeah, I'll go on a limb and say that the cup has fallen off that stand at least a couple times.
It's been loved. That cup has been loved. I'll tell you that much.
It certainly is very well loved, as are both of these teams by their respective fan bases today. And we've got an incredible show ready for you. A massive thank you to Ferris State, their entire athletic staff, for financing this trip and making this show a possibility and a reality to set us up in what is going to be a very lively tailgate lot here shortly. That lot did not open until 1 minute ago on the dot, so best believe these cars are lined up outside getting ready to come in. So we're very excited to kick this show off here. Two of the best teams in all of Division II football, a rivalry that GLIAC fans and fans of Midwest football are all too familiar with. We're here to even help put that more onto the national stage. They don't need our help, fellas. This game is known far and wide. I'm sure there will be lots of conversation throughout the day. But let's talk about, as this tailgate lot starts to fill up here, Top Taggart Field, you see it in the background. Let's talk about what we got going on with the show today, fellas. We're kicking things off, of course, with the site preview, Lakers and Bulldogs. Of course, right after that, we're getting into the Division II game previews. We've got our favorites for the Harland Hill Award. That is the top individual honor in all of D2 football. Some call it the D2 Heisman. It's the Harland Hill. It's very much its own singular award. And then, of course, head honcho, Ferris State head coach Tony Annese joining us at the desk right at 10:30. Very excited for that conversation, boys. We've got a great feature on their quarterback, Wyatt Bauer, and his twin, Tarek, who also plays for the Bulldogs. Excited to give you guys a little bit of a scoop on some of the playmakers for this home team, and then we'll get into our D3 game previews. And what a fun segment to close out the first part of the first hour, the WIAC Circle of Suck. We've got the D3 conference that seems to be the best in the country, just beating up and cannibalizing each other for what feels like, I don't know, the 10th consecutive season.
Not to say that these teams do in fact suck, but they are in a circle of suck right now. I absolutely love that, especially being a WIAC guy here. Oh man, you love to see everybody cannibalizing each other at this point.
We'll hop in after that to Division III NPI rankings. That's kind of the algorithmic ranking that the NCAA uses to determine playoff bids and other things. Coach Howard will bring us into the film room, take a look at a deep dive into Ferris State, especially their scheme offensively, what this team has done so well that has helped them win 3 of the last 4 national championships. They're looking to improve on that record in 2025. Jimmy and Cade will bring us some touchdown locks today, give you some guys that are sure to grace the end zones of their respective games. And then as we keep going forward, we've got to highlight Trinidad Chambliss, the quarterback from Ferris State, who has started for Ole Miss this year and led them to an incredible season. Tough loss at Georgia, but Trinidad very much still balling.
Friend of the show.
Friend of the pod especially. And then we go Ferris, the SP Plus rankings, boys. They are 2 spots behind Oklahoma State in all of the country. I think Oklahoma State was favored by 1 in the theoretical spread. So we'll talk all about that. Of course, Grand Valley State will be represented at the desk as well. Scott Wooster from the Lakers will join us here at 11:15. And then we've got one of the Lakers wide receivers who actually had an interning chance with the Big 12 Conference. A very cool professional opportunity with Kellen Reed that we will talk with him about later in the show. And then, fellas, to close out the show, we're very excited about this part. We've got NAIA game previews, of course, a William B. Campbell Trophy Award finalist in Jackson Waring down at Grandview. Our line breaker segment that you hopefully have become familiar with, where we pick some of the most random spreads and over-unders across the country. Our difference makers, where we select players from each team that will, obviously, as the name implies, make a big difference in today's game. But at 11:51, Jason Vander Laan is joining the desk, boys. The former Ferris State quarterback, a 2-time Harland Hill winner, the only quarterback in the history of the NCAA to have 4 consecutive 1,000 rushing yard
That is
seasons.
incredible.
And passing. 1,000 rushing and passing. He is the current record holder for a season rushing yard leader in the history of the NCAA any level.
Bro, he ran for 1,600 yards in 1 year.
In 1 year. He's a dog, plays 6 years in the NFL.
Silly.
He'll join us live. Of course, we close out the show with our game picks and a kickoff here from the Anchor Bone Classic, boys, at 1 o'clock, getting ready.
Look
and again,
behind us,
here is
man.
a look at the tailgate lot that is That's filled up pretty quickly here.
Yes,
that is
it
filled
has.
up
Got the
very
signs, too.
quickly. Yes, we're getting ready to go. There, Kristen Child time shit. That is incredible. This place
Spider-Man
is going to
back
be
there,
an awesome atmosphere for today's game. And boys, I think it's only right that we start talking about these two teams, and who better to talk about than the home team. This is a Ferris State team that, kind of like I said earlier, has won 3 of the 4 last national championships. A team that has represented Super Region 3 at the Division II stage very well. And actually, I didn't introduce you guys to start the show. Should we start with that?
That's all right.
My name is Seth Howard,
jeez.
quarterback, professor.
On the far left, a man who shares my name but not my face, my younger brother, Cade Manzo.
Man, just a blessing to be here. This time I don't have to go out there and play, so it might be a little more enjoyable. But I'm looking forward to football, man.
By the way, can you turn my headset up a little bit?
Yes, I can.
Appreciate
I can do
you.
that.
And then in between the proverbial Manzo sandwich, per usual, it's Coach Seth Howard.
Let's go. This is actually my second Division II game that I've ever attended. The first one absolutely did not disappoint when we were up there in Duluth, but I'm sure this one is going to supersede that for sure today, boys.
Very, very high praise, bold claim. I'm with it. I am, of course, your host, Kobe Manzo, excited to kick things off here on this show. And then joining me on my right, your left, is Jimmy Martin.
Very grateful to be here. Thank you to Ferris State for hosting us. It's going to be a great day.
This is going to be electric. Let's talk about the Bulldogs a little bit, right? We talked about what they've done on the national stage. This is a team, guys, that has played multiple extra seasons, so to speak, because of how many playoff games they've played the last couple of years. And for me, the big part of it, it's a young quarterback that has torn up Division II football in his first year as the starter. We'll talk about Wyatt Bauer throughout the course of this conversation and this show. Fifth-year offensive lineman, though, Jarvis Wyndham, he says he's a very poised quarterback. He bounces back quickly from any mistakes. That's what he said about his young quarterback and signal caller, the guy calling the shots for this offense, so to speak. He described him as a great leader already at a young age, someone who is poised, has that confidence, never too high or too low. I'm excited to see him in person today. Had a chance to talk with him. You'll hear from him very quickly. But, fellas, the players are very quick to say this team is nasty in all of the right ways. Ferris State in the trenches, O-line, D-line. You'd be hard-pressed to find a tougher and physically, mentally more tough unit in all of college football. That's what they pride themselves on, seriously. Determined is a dangerous combo to go with that. And like I said, this is a team that has basically played in a couple extra seasons of football.
No kidding.
Yeah, I'm on the way down here, Kobe, listening to the radio show, and Coach Annese said something. It might have been the radio host, I'm not sure, but it stuck with me, and that's the culture of winning, right? Ferris State, they expect to win. You know what I'm saying? So, like, when you lose a game, like, it's a big deal because, I mean, you're 7-0 again, right? I mean, and if you would have told me they're 7-0 before the year, I've been like, not crazy to say at all because it's expected, and it's expected around the league and around the country too.
Now, what better way to hear about this Ferris State team than to hear directly from the players? Let's check in with the Bulldogs.
I feel like our offense, we thrive off big plays, and we make big plays all the time.
Motion to the short side. Bauer, the quick throw to Tariq Brett. Turns it back upfield. Now comes back to the near side. Touchdown, Bulldogs!
You know, we build ourselves on being nasty. We want to be the most aggressive off the line. You know, it's a very physical game, so we want to out-physical everyone.
Up the middle. Has a chance. Touchdown, Bulldogs! Wyatt.
This team is hungry. We want it all. We don't care about what we've done in the past. It's a new season. It's a new team.
The best thing about playing this defense is that if you do your 111, you're bound to make a play. Every Saturday we come out here and just put it all on display.
Tight end left. Whippers hand up and it's blown up by the Bulldogs.
Coach Tony Annese, his impact here has been crazy. His impact on every player here as well has been like life-changing. You know, he really cares about the guys, and we want to start off fast. You know, first drive we want 3 and out, and that builds momentum from there. You know.
You heard it first from the Bulldogs. Coach Annese, the impact he's had on these players and this program, they said it themselves. It's been life-changing, the impact that he's had on these guys, fellas, and the impact that he's had on this place. Look at Ferris State University.
It keeps getting bigger.
This parking lot was absolutely empty when we pulled up. This place has filled up in a matter of minutes. This is a look at Top Taggart Field here in Big Rapids as the Ferris State faithful and Spider-Man have shown out for the support the Bulldogs here this afternoon. That is incredible. The Marvel crossover into the Division I Rejects universe here.
Painted on, I believe.
But in all seriousness, this environment, guys, is only going to get better as the day goes on. This tailgate scene for the Anchorbone Classic, Grand Valley State, Ferris State, kicking off at 1 o'clock Eastern today, one that we are incredibly excited about. But let's flip the script. Let's talk about the Lakers, the team that needs to come in with a, dare I say, a fire lit under their ass today, boys. Saginaw Valley handed it to them in their home field a week ago. They have all the reason in the world to be pumped up and to get excited for this one. Grand Valley, the things you need to know about the Lakers. This is a team that is also led by a young quarterback, and Schuster, a very talented young quarterback, very much similar to Bauer. Wide receiver Kellen Reed said he's always calm, very level-headed. Sounds very similar to what we just heard from Wyndham, right?
Both young guys, too, so that speaks volumes about how, their maturity has kind of excelled while they've been in college.
They've certainly earned the respect of some of the veteran guys on their respective teams as well. The general consensus from talking to this team is that they're as close-knit as they've ever been, that going through some of these hardships early in the season, 2 losses for Grand Valley State, you might want to jump ship. You might think the world is ending if you listen to anyone outside of that building. But talking with these guys, the guys that are inside of that facility, they told me that this was a much-needed wake-up call for this team, respectively, and that this has brought them very close together. There's no feeling inside of that facility over there in Grand Rapids and Allendale, so to speak, that their back is up against the wall. They are still calm. They are still ready to go and compete today. I'm very excited to see it. Defensively, heard from guys like Anthony Cardamone, Jimmy Downs. They kept going back to this idea of swarm. That is the identity, the culture of this defense. 11 hats to the ball at all periods of the football game. Simple principle, but something that Grand Valley State has certainly lived by, gentlemen. Let's go hear from some of those guys about this Laker squad.
Everybody thinks like we're GV, like we got this, we got that. Like it's not just gonna come. Like we have to do something about it. It was a good wake-up call. This is exactly what we needed going into this week.
This is a resilient group of guys. Trust the hell out of my guys. Trust the hell out of my coach. Day in and day out, you do what you do for your brother, and trust that, the guy next to you, the guy behind you, he's going to take care of business. And
when we get everything rolling, we're extremely explosive.
I think it just comes down to having belief and buying into our code and culture. Swarm is our culture, and that's fast, violent hunt, and that's how we like to play.
Dominate your rep, trust your eyes, trust your reads, do your job, good things will happen, don't play out of your shoes.
Well, everybody outside of the team thinks oh, they got their backs on the wall. That's not how we feel at all.
You heard it there first from the Lakers. Grand Valley State hoping to play spoiler here in Big Rapids, and like I said, fellas, 2 losses for any other team in America might be one of the greatest things that's happened to their program in recent history. 2 losses, if you wear that blue and you don that GV on Saturdays, that's bad. That's trouble.
Well, I think I'm not super familiar with Division II in these teams specifically, but I think any good team, when they have 2 losses and they're coming off a loss, bad teams, they'll spiral, right? They'll have a tough rest of their season. But I think when you're a team that's as good as Grand Valley and as historic as they are, I know that they're not going to spiral because they are a good team, and what they have going on in their coaching staff and what I just saw from that locker room, I think they're going to come out absolutely on fire today. But, good teams, they don't spiral, man.
And they are competing for this guy right here, which is a little bit heavier than I anticipated, if I'm being very honest with you. This trophy, the Anchorbone Classic trophy here, fellas. We might have a segment alone dedicated to what has been consumed out of the trophy. Maybe later on. Is that coming?
Oh, yeah, after the show.
Maybe some brews.
We're excited to see these guys compete for that, boys. But first, of course, let's get into a look around the nation, so to speak. Our Division II game previews, kicking things off with a Gulf South matchup. Delta State taking on West Alabama, 2 powerhouses, nationally ranked top 25 opponents. Kicking things off today at 2 o'clock Eastern down there in Alabama, home game for the Tigers, Kate.
Yeah, so, obviously West Alabama suffered a dramatic loss last week to West Florida. But this Delta State team, they're 6-1 so far this season. Only loss coming to a tough UNC Pembroke squad. They're built on a strong running game led by a redshirt freshman by the name of Nick Clark.
Hey.
The running back out of Alabama, he has 370 yards and 10 touchdowns already on the ground. They're going to get West Alabama's best game after their tight loss to West Florida. Like I said, you got to dominate the line of scrimmage if you're Delta State today. And the senior stud quarterback Cole Kirk hasn't put together mind-boggling stats this year, but he has played in huge games and does have a veteran presence on that offensive side of the ball.
And I'll tell you what, that was a tough loss to West Florida. But the Argos had a season-low 23 points last week, so certainly a bright spot for this Tiger defense, under that man right there, Coach Cochran down there at West Alabama. And the guy you see right there is certainly one that, let me say something, fellas. We're going to talk about Harland Hill favorites here very shortly. Spencer Arsenault is not on that list. If he has a great game today against a talented Delta State Statesman squad and the Fighting Okra down there at Delta State, he will propel himself into the Harland Hill conversation. The way that he has been the epitome of a dual-threat quarterback, a gritty, tough guy under center, and a very calming presence for this West Alabama offense, I'm expecting him to have a very big day on a homecoming. What better day to have a day when everyone's coming back to see this Tiger squad? A lot of hype, a lot of expectations that come with that. Running back Contravius Blanks, he's done for the season with an injury. That is very bad news for this Tigers team. This offense has had some weapons step up in the wide receiver room, tight end room especially, respectively. So still some good things and bright spots for that offense. JT Hooten in this defense still very much a problem. They need the offense to start fast, keep them out of some adverse situations, though. That certainly seemed to be the problem a week ago against West Florida and your guy Marcus Stokes.
Hey, man, you know how I feel about Marcus Stokes. I'll get into it later. Don't worry. It's coming.
That's good. Let's shift gears now. Head down to the GMAC, a little bit more Midwestern, in the footprint. Ashland taking on Tiffin. And this is a big one, guys. Two teams really jockeying for playoff spots. And Seth, what can you tell me about the Eagles?
Yeah, they're 6-1 coming into the year. And, Michael Shimmick, he leads the Great Midwest Athletic Conference with 10 sacks. So expect him to have an absolute big day so far. And that this team doesn't necessarily light up the stat sheet. They're not, their quarterback doesn't necessarily throw for a bunch of yards. They don't have running backs that put up monster numbers, but they just get it done however they have to. And that's kind of the theme that they've been rocking with all year. By any means necessary, if they got to throw it, they got to run it, and kind of lean on that defense. And that's kind of what they've done so far, fellas.
And I'll tell you what, though, this matchup is an interesting one. The home team, whether it be Ashland or Tiffin, has won all 4 of the last meetings.
Right, yeah.
That's a big piece of what goes into this. Of course, Tiffin hosting today. Kind of a disappointing start to GMAC play for Tiffin. They had that very tough loss to this Ferris State team. We saw who they competed and battled with for a legit 4 quarters. They had a little bit of a letdown a week later. I believe it was Ohio Dominican that they dropped that loss to start conference play. They've been quietly rolling ever since it's starting to really gain momentum inside of this conference. Ronald Blackman, the stud out of the backfield, a preseason All-American nod, D2Football.com Elite 100 in the preseason. He's been as advertised for this Tiffin Dragon squad, but he hasn't made maybe as many trips to the end zone as we came to expect in 2025. Look for him to have a big day. There have been a couple blowout wins for this Dragon team in recent weeks, so I think that's part of the reason why we haven't seen him reach pay dirt, but he will have a much higher workload today. If the playoffs started today, boys, there would be 3 GMAC teams in the dance: Findlay, Ashland, and Northwood. Tiffin is not one of those squads. Today's win over Ashland, if they could pull it off, that would certainly propel them into the national conversation inside of the super region.
Most
so
definitely.
A lot on the table, a lot of high stakes today for the Dragons. Let's shift over. Let's talk PSAC, fellas, in a big game down in Pennsylvania. We've got the Coal Bowl, California University, Pennsylvania, versus Indiana University, Pennsylvania.
This is so confusing to me.
Geographic nightmare, but incredible football game. The Coal Bowl, a very exciting one. Cade, start us off with the Vulcans.
Yeah, so this Cal team, they're 5-2. They have 2 ranked wins against a really good Charleston team week 1, and then they beat number 4 Slippery Rock week 4 when they were ranked that high, respectively. They seem to have a tendency to play to the other team's level, whether that be good, like ranked wins, or bad, like losing 2 out of the last 3 to not as good teams. Wide receiver Diave Johnson, he leads the team in receiving yards with 420 and 2 touchdowns through the air. And quarterbacks Roman Purcell and Phaeton Hill run sort of a 2-man system with both guys getting meaningful snaps behind center. They both have kind of struggled with turnovers and need to keep it clean today in order to win this one.
Purcell has been a dog for that squad, but I'll flip the script, Jimmy. What can you tell me about this Crimson Hawks?
So I got to tell you about the historical history of this matchup. So been kind of one side historically. IUP leading the all-time series 65-31. There's also been 3 ties in this rivalry.
Hey.
Kind of interesting. But Maurice Massey's been a huge contributor for this offense with 6 touchdowns this year, propelling them to 37.7 points a game. This is a very explosive offense. Expect a lot of points today. However, this team does tend to shoot themselves in the foot every once in a while. 86.7 penalty yards per game. So look for them to clean that up, get a little bit more disciplined. Yeah, I'm just trying to pull stats out of the bag here.
I like that.
That is a lot of penalty yards.
That's not a good side.
And we were talking trophies. The Cole Bowl is a sick one. I should have had a picture pulled up.
Yeah.
It's literally, boys, it's a metal bucket. It looks like it came straight out of the mine shaft.
It's like the blue collar bowl.
It's kind of like the blue collar bowl. Let's flip over, talk some SIAC, fellas. A conference maybe not so much in the national spotlight today. Very much not the case. Albany State taking on Benedict. A 2 o'clock kick in Columbia. Seth, start us off with the away squad.
Yeah, another team that's only got 1 loss on their record so far. That 1 loss coming to Florida A&M earlier this season. They've actually won they won 7 of the last 10 matchups against these fellas. Isaiah Knowles, their quarterback, he's thrown 9 touchdowns, and what I love even more is he's only thrown 2 interceptions so far this year. They actually have the #1 offense and the #1 defense in the SAIC so far this season. So they've been absolutely dominant in conference so far, but I understand why they're 5.5-point favorites coming into this.
100%. And for me, Benedict's MO the last couple of years from that defensive line especially, these guys get after the quarterback. And they've done a very good job of that in 2025. 20 sacks on the season already for the Tigers, but Albany State is beating them at their own game. I think they're the only team in the conference that does a better job of rushing the passer, which is certainly something to watch. The Tigers, they're 7-0. They just beat who is turning out to be a very talented squad in Edward Waters, who upset Virginia Union, if you follow the CIAA a little bit in that part of the country. But that was, I think, more of a statement win that a lot of people give this Benedict team credit for. This might be their true last test of the regular season, so it's going to be a very easy game for Benedict to get up and get motivated for the last couple weeks of the season. Again, I kind of see them cruising, to be very honest with you, but they're 7-0 right now. This is going to be a big one. Oh, and by the way, it's on ESPN Plus, boys.
Wow. We love that.
That's pretty bad. That's pretty badass. That's awesome.
Expand the game.
I love that. I love that for both of these squads. But we'll close things out, guys, with our D2 previews. Let's go down and talk about this Emory and Henry team. I think has gotten some of the most talk on Small School Saturday.
It really has.
For a very good reason down there in the SAC. They have played some very marquee opponents the last couple of weeks. Jimmy, can the Wasps, can they pull out something here against the Wolves?
You know, this is a good football team. They're favored as they're 6.5-point favorites on the road at Newberry. Over/under sitting at 55.5. This is another explosive offense. 36.8 points per game on the year to go along with only 16 points a game allowed. And also, I got a little stat for you guys. They are second in rushing defense in the conference, only allowing 105 yards a game. That kind of sounds like a lot, but this is a very run-heavy conference.
Okay.
I think that's a pretty impressive stat. And also, being second, you know, pretty good.
I'll take it.
That's pretty good. Consensus,
not first, but
consensus
pretty good.
Second is pretty good. Podium. Seth, how about Newberry?
No, yeah, I feel like I'm talking about all the 6-1 teams, and rightfully so. We're getting closer to the end of this regular season so far. But yeah, another team with only 1 loss. Reed Sharpia, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, but he's thrown for over 1,800 yards, 16 touchdowns passing, and again, only 1 interception. That is an 8-to-1 touchdown interception ratio, which I absolutely love that. 70% completion as well, which is absolutely insane so far up to this year. They're going to need to lean on him a lot if they're going to have a shot in this one, boys.
They certainly are. The sack for a long time, guys, that felt like Lenore Ryan's conference to lose. The Bears under Coach Sosha still very much have a good thing going down there in North Carolina, but they've dropped off a little bit, and it's very fun to see some of these other teams, the Emory and Henry, the Newberry, some of these squads that maybe have been in the shadow of Lenore Ryan, this predominantly powerhouse of that conference, to step up and really start taking a couple of their best shot at this conference title. That conference is going to be very interesting to see how that shakes out. Of course, the Division II playoff this year has expanded to a total of 32 teams. That means a couple of different things, fellas. That means that from 7 to 8 teams now get in from every of the 4 super regions, and it also means that if you get a first seed in the D2 kind of playoff formula, you no longer get a bye. That certainly could come into effect for the Ferris State Bulldogs here if they continue to handle business over the course of the GLIAC season, boys.
I'm sure that'll handle all the playoff issues, too.
Check out this environment, man.
Dude,
this place has filled up. Top Taggart Field is going to be absolutely standing room only today for the Anchorbone Classic. This tailgate lot just an hour ago maybe had 1 vehicle in it, and it was the minivan that we rented to get down here, boys. Now it is full of what appears to be a lot of Bulldog faithful, a blackout today for the Bulldogs hosting the Lakers from Grand Valley State. But we're talking about one of those Bulldogs in our quick segment here on the favorites for the Harland Hill Award. Wyatt Bauer, the quarterback for the Dogs that has taken over in his first year starting for Ferris State. He certainly needs to be in the conversation, boys. He's a redshirt freshman, and that's not typically someone the award would go to. But let me tell you right now, the guys who vote on this award, you know what they like, amongst other things? Winning. They like doing that at a high level. Wyatt has done just that. He will continue to do so as long as he is here at Ferris and playing the way he has played. 1,300 yards, 15 touchdowns through 7 games. And a lot of those games, he's not even playing the full 4 quarters.
Right.
It's big time.
I think that's the interesting thing about some of these, Player of the Year awards is, they might not necessarily light up the stat sheet. I think about, the Glardy Trophy with Luke Lannon. Like, he going into the playoffs, he didn't have, crazy stats. But, again, that's because he didn't play, in half of the games that he played in. That's kind of the similar situation going on here. But, yeah, absolute dog we got coming out here today.
Yeah, I'm excited to watch him play. I've seen little bits and pieces, obviously, because, Ferris is the #1 team in the country that's posted everywhere. But it's one of those guys you got to see him play in person to kind of really appreciate what he does, especially at the quarterback position.
And we're going to see how poised he is, right, in an environment like this. Now, granted, a friendly environment, right, but still a very big-time environment such as this game. Now, keep going down the road. Cade, Marcus Stokes has been killing it, the sophomore quarterback at West Florida, very highly touted out of high school, had some things maybe not go his way, the path to where he's at now, not the one he may have chosen out of high school, but nonetheless, he is balling and he is slinging the rock.
Yeah, I mean, the kid's legit. He's got every single tool that you'd want in a Division I quarterback, let alone a D2 quarterback. And I think something that's really important, too, the kid's got a bunch of swag.
Yes, he does. Moxie. A lot of moxie.
He holds his head high. He walks in the field. He knows he's got this stuff, and you're going to hear about it, too. So I generally think he's only a sophomore. Am I reading this right?
I believe so. That's what our notes say.
I mean, they better get him somewhere nice to stay in West Florida, or else he's going to be going somewhere else.
They got some money down there in West Florida. I'll tell you that much.
They certainly do all right. And fellas, let's continue talking about these Harland Hill favorites. Let's continue with the conversation with Jack Strand, another name, kind of a Midwestern name here, the senior out of Minnesota State Moorhead. Boys, 2,300 yards and 24 passing touchdowns. Now, 11 interceptions that come with that. He's got a little bit of a rushing game, 260 yards on the ground, 3 touchdowns with his legs. He's a little bit of a riverboat gambler, boys. He takes a lot of shots, a lot of deep shots. And this offense has kind of been built around Strand. This is the most air raid offenses. They don't rush the ball unless they have to. Let me tell you something. You talk about Division I quarterback. Jack Strand is built like any D1 quarterback you could imagine or create a player.
Didn't he throw the ball 60 times week 1?
Yeah, it's like every week. It's like every week, dude.
Dude, yeah. He's legit.
Yeah, they got to check his arm. They might have some mechanical.
He might need Tommy
components.
John.
Hey,
no, that's not. Yeah, let's knock on wood there. But he certainly needs to be in this conversation. Curtis Allen, another name you need to know here, the running back from Virginia Union, following an incredible couple of seasons and performances from Jada Byers. He's already had almost 1,400 yards rushing on the day, 19 tuds on the ground there for the Panthers. And finally, Roman Fuller, the quarterback from CSU Pueblo out in the RMAC, 2,200 yards through the air, 22 tuds to 3 interceptions. Possibly nobody in the country doing it better than Roman Fuller. His favorite target, Reggie Retzlaff, certainly has a lot to do with that, who got an extra year of eligibility. Not sure how much in tune you guys are to that conversation. His brother, you might know him, the quarterback at Tulane, Retzlaff?
Yeah.
There you go.
Really?
Younger brother is their best receiver at CSU Pueblo, one of the best in the entire country.
Good ball knowledge.
Those are, thank you, I try my best. Those are certainly the favorites for the Harland Hill. We're going to see one of them in person today at Top Taggart. We're going to take a 2-minute break, guys, and on the other side of this break, we will be talking with the head coach of the Ferris State Bulldogs, Coach Tony Annese. Woo! We are back on the other side here. Small School Saturday Live from Ferris State University ahead of the Anchor Bone Classic. We are joined at the desk by the king of West Michigan himself, royalty in these parts. It's the head coach of the Ferris State Bulldogs, Tony Annese.
Thank you, Kobe. Thanks for having me.
You are the absolute man, Coach. It was an absolute privilege and honor to have you on the show. Pretty recently, honestly, it feels like forever ago because of how much has transpired. But the thing that has been a constant is you win football games, man. What are the expectations for today? This is going to be an awesome environment.
Oh man! First off, you got me on this show way before I ever do anything on a day. So you got me that. I'm very superstitious, and you've broke a lot of my rules, but that's all right. I guess we'll figure it out. I had to walk over here too because the traffic's too bad to drive.
It's insane.
Normally I drive and park right in this lot, but not today. But and look at you guys. I mean, from the dorm. Northern Michigan.
Yes, sir.
Rolling around like this is awesome. You guys have done a great job of helping all of us lower-level programs get notoriety and visibility. That's awesome.
Well, thank you very much, man. I genuinely appreciate that. And you guys have done a great job being ambassadors for yourself. You've added a lot to the game day experience this year, is my understanding. The marching band seems to be a very big piece of that. You can see behind us, we got a brand new dorm being built right behind the end zone. This environment, this atmosphere, this university has had to keep up with you guys performing very, very well and bringing more and more people to Top Taggart. Today is going to be an awesome environment. How has the environment, how have Saturdays in Big Rapids changed and evolved since you took the role here?
Yeah, it's crazy. About, I think it was the Pitt State game. I was walking across the lot, and it was just wild. And I looked at my son, who's my offensive coordinator, and then the AD came up, and I said, man, look at this. And there's a lot of people involved in obviously building it, but when I first got here, it's like there's nothing here, nothing.
Yeah.
And so, no real great game day, tailgating, and you see it right
Safe
there.
Safe to say that has changed, absolutely so. And you can see right behind that building that's the new dorm going up in the back of the end zone, certainly going to add a big piece, a focal point here. But on the other side, nothing there yet, Coach. How's the indoor coming along?
Well, there's a lot of talk about it and a lot of momentum, obviously.
Good.
And it's phase 1 is the dorm, phase 2 is the indoor. So
that's huge.
I'm very confident that that's going to happen. Hopefully soon, and hopefully before I'm retired.
Yeah, that's correct. To see the fruits of your own labor, so to speak. And I talked with Isaiah Byers earlier this week, and he was very quick to mention the, quote, life-changing impact that you have had on the guys on this roster, all of them. And to me, what stands out is it's not just the guys that spend 4 or 5 seasons with this program that go and speak very highly of you. It's some of the guys that only spend 1 semester under your tutelage. They walk away all having that same thought. What is it about kind of this program, and how do you see your impact on these guys as they head off into life, whether it is football or otherwise?
Well, as a high school teacher for 25 years, and I was grounded pretty early in your expectation as a professional is to, change young people's lives. And so, I don't coach just win championships. It's fun to win championships, but the ultimate gift is to develop, I always say the catalyst of our greatness is love. So, develop a profound relationship with a young person so they leave you, feeling like we've empowered them to succeed in life. And
absolutely.
So that's the ultimate goal. It's the ultimate victory, truthfully, for us. And I learned that from the great men and women that were in classrooms teaching young people, in high schools. And so I'm still a high school teacher and a coach at heart, and I always will be.
As the son of 2 educators, I can certainly attest to that and the impact that they've had. It certainly translates to the coaching world very seamlessly, right? But, to talk about this team and, more importantly, the guy that you got under center right now, a guy who shares your hometown in Wyatt out of Corona, is this something that you manifested? How long has that been in the making? And that process had to have been a fun one.
I got pictures of him when I think he was in 4th grade, which is crazy. Him and Tarek and Jaden Eddington and a couple other guys. We would do a camp at Corona High School every year, just as a service. It's cool to go back to my hometown and the high school field's named Nick Annese Field. And so going back to that, it was always fun. And so, yeah, it's cool to see. And then he's both of them, they're great young men, and so is Jaden. And so it's like, it's just a pleasure to coach them. And they've done great work this year, losing 5 guys to FBS programs on offense alone. Yep. People get nervous about your capacity to, have enough bodies to really have the experience to succeed, and so far so good.
Absolutely, Coach. And we're going to hear from them very shortly here. Seth, you got something for Coach?
Yeah, Coach, you spent some time at junior college. I was curious with the era of the transfer portal and how guys are moving around so much more than feels like they used to. How did that experience at the junior college level maybe kind of prepare you for this new transfer portal era? Maybe that's always been the case here, but how's that prepared you for this modern era of the transfer portal?
Yeah, being a JUCO head coach, we were working to, get kids their associate's degree and getting them out, Yeah. So a kid like Cody Cater, who played for me at GRCC and went and quarterback Central Michigan. I mean, those are all the guys you're trying to get them out back to the 4-year school. But, it's different now because you want to retain the guys as long as you can retain them. And, and so the only thing you can do ultimately is try to make it hard to leave, I know people hate when you pull out a phone, but, this is the text I just got at 10:05. Coach, I wanted to tell you good luck today versus GV. Make sure that trophy stays in BR. Love you, Coach. And it's from Trinidad. So
that's special. That's special stuff.
That's awesome. I said awesome. Love you and good luck. Oops.
You're good. We can get you plugged
I lost
back in
this, so I can't hear myself.
We got you, Coach.
Yeah.
We got you.
But, that's what it's all about. So you don't want to lose guys. You want to make it hard for them to leave. You want to have the greatest, culture in America. I talk about, that being a part of who we are. But at the end of the day, you just want to support them if they do go on.
And that culture doesn't start and stop on Saturdays, right? We're going to see this team play here in a couple hours, but when you talk about this team, I think it's cool to see how quick you are to mention the way you guys practice. And a lot of people have started to notice. They've started to take notice. Where and how have you developed this practice strategy and the way that you guys prepare during the course of a week and any kind of given prep week? And what is it about this practice setup that has really separated you guys for competitive environments like this?
I think first off, it's a mindset. It begins with, the whole state of mind that, you've never really achieved what you want to achieve. And I know that's crazy because people are like, wait, you won 3 national championships in 4 years, but we have a chip like this. I don't know if you can see it.
Oh, yeah.
Right
Show the camera right there, Coach.
Yeah.
There
so
it
it
is.
says, and I carry this everywhere, but it says, keep your chip. Ferris State Football 2025, keep your chip. And the chip, this is obviously, something that is symbolic, but I have it with me all the time.
I love that.
And, keeping your chip is having the mindset that you really have to do it all over again,
Yes,
know?
Sir.
So have a chip on your shoulder. And so we have a chip on our shoulder, and that's how it starts is we always have a chip on our shoulder. We always want to be, the best. We don't ever settle for anything. I know, people are like, oh, you're going to be complacent or, are the wins or the success, going to, get you. That happens to people.
Sure.
Not the dogs, not the dogs. So we talk about this a lot. And then at the back it says in the fold, which is our motto, and then our 4 core values, faith, order, love, and discipline. So they carry it with them. And
grounding roots, man. Yeah.
Yeah, and some of them, some of the guys that played for me way back in 19 still have their chip.
Really? They keep it with them.
Yeah, and the other thing is it's all in. You know how when you're throwing, when you're playing Texas Hold'em and you go all in. Well, that's what we do. We go all in every day. We're all in. We're committed at the highest level, and therefore then you hit the practice field with that mindset of we're all in. We're going to do what we can to be the best. And it's not always perfect, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we play a great team today, and obviously it's hard. It's hard to get out of every game with a W. But the ultimate test is, can you perform? Can you give the best effort imaginable?
Yes, sir.
Maybe mistakes happen. Those are part of football, but I want them to walk out there and give the very best that they have, and they do that every day.
They certainly have done that for you. Absolutely. This is a dog team that continues to stack chips, right? It definitely feels like any motivation that you guys can take from wherever, add it in. Let's use that during the course of the practice or game day experience. Jimmy, what do you got for Coach?
Coach, obviously you've coached with a lot of great coaches, but what's the best piece of advice you've received from a coach along the way?
Well, it was Nick Annese, and he said, be a servant leader. Serve young people. Don't lose the state of mind or the priority of your purpose.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people do. And in big-time college football, sometimes how can you keep yourself from doing it? Because you're trying to keep your job, right? Mm-hmm. And so you see what's happened already with some of the people who've lost their job, which is sad. Yeah. And so, I want to win as bad as anyone. I'm very competitive, but I don't want to lose the focus on what I want to achieve to help young people be successful. And so being a servant leader, knowing that the responsibility I have to serve young people, it's the same thing as a high school teacher, That dude sitting in the very back of the corner at Jenison High School, his name was CJ. I won't say his last name, but I couldn't keep him awake. And I would always say, hey, if I'm failing students, that means I'm failing myself to motivate my students. And he was my starting quarterback. And I'm like, dude, I got to get you to be serious academically, And I hope CJ's watching. I think he lives in South Carolina now.
Okay.
So I had to work hard to motivate him to be a good student. And that can't be, teachers, again, are very committed to that. And so that's been my mindset from the beginning.
That does. It definitely is a great way to think about it in terms of setting these guys up holistically. And that, by the way, is exactly the reason you're getting those texts. It's no secret to you, the relationship that you keep with these guys as they go out and spread their wings, so to speak, and go on, whether it is to more football or otherwise, and taking on whatever life has for them. But my question for you is, what are we doing for the are we bringing in extra bleachers? What's the situation with the standing room only today? This place is going to be absolutely loud. We got a blackout today against the Lakers?
Yeah, Rob Bentley's in charge of all that.
Okay,
so
yes, sir. We met
Rob.
Rob.
An outsourced job for you.
Look at this, man.
Hopefully people are getting in here okay. I don't know. It's wild. It always is wild with them, and that's not even really doing us justice there with the camera. It's going to be great. It's always been great. I've always loved going to Lubbers. They've always treated us really well. Maybe not the everybody cries about how the fans are. Yeah. I've never had an issue at Lubbers. I've always enjoyed it, and the administration at Grand Valley's always treated me really, really well. And now we're here, and we haven't been here since 22, and they did beat us by 1 point in that regular season game, and then we ended up beating them in the playoffs and winning the national championship. But it's been a while, so it's an unbelievable atmosphere, and all day everybody should celebrate what a great rivalry this is. At the end of the day, somebody asked me the other day, what staff are you probably closest to? And I thought about it, and there's a lot of, obviously I've got two former assistants that are head coaches in the league now, but I used to have three, but they didn't treat Nystrom very well up at Northern Michigan.
You and I agree
Shout
on that.
out. It's like Grand Valley's probably the staff we talk to the most because we're right here in West Michigan. And and Coach Wooster, I coached high school ball against him. So
that is awesome.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? Yeah. So we've known each other a long time, and we used to do camps, and he used to come to my camp, and it's been Coach Lewis is very complimentary all the time. Texted me before the seasons, texted me a couple times. Good luck, and so it's
that's great, man.
For the coaches, we both want to win, but there is mad respect.
Absolutely. A lot of respect shared with both these squads. We're going to see that today. 1 o'clock kick here for the Anchor Bone Classic. Ferris State taking on Grand Valley at home. The head coach of the Dogs, Tony Annese.
Woo! Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Coach, thank you so much, man.
Appreciate you.
You are very fun to follow, and I'm excited to see get the game day experience when I'm not maybe affiliated with one of your opponents. It's going to be a lot more fun to watch as a third-party coach. Yeah. Thank you so much for joining us, man. Absolutely. Tony Annese, the head coach of the Dogs, joining us here live on Small School Saturday. And now, fellas, we're going to stay on the Dogs and talk about this Ferris State team a little bit more, and more specifically, the quarterback situation of Ferris State and what they have done. We talked about it, running and calling the shots for this offense from Corunna High School. It's Wyatt Bauer. And what's really interesting about that, guys, is that Wyatt Bauer, he was the scout team signal caller for Ferris State team that has had one of the best quarterback rooms in recent history in all of college football. You go back even before, we're talking about guys like Myleik Mitchell, like Carson Golker, like Trinidad Chambliss. I could go down the list. There's a lot of guys that have come through this room that have been spectacular at the Division II level and beyond. This year, though, he impressed Coach Annese and the rest of the staff so much that they gave him the starting job outright as a redshirt freshman. And he has taken the ball and run with it. The rest we've seen play out in dominant fashion. The cool part, though, guys, he isn't the only Bauer suiting up for the Dogs this fall. His twin brother, Tarek, is also on the team, a blessing that he is very quick to appreciate.
I wanted to play with my brother, my twin brother. So we wanted to play together, and they gave us the opportunity, and we took it and ran with it. Obviously, we played together in high school. We had a great senior year. And it's just great to have him on the team with me again and living with me still and still together. That's a big part. And, it's hard for us to be apart. We've been together for 20 years now. So for the longest time, we shared a bedroom. So that was a big change coming into, college, and we shared a car all through high school, so we were always together, never apart, ever apart. So it's different now. Obviously, he's still under the same roof I am, but we have a little bit of space between us and a little bit of more privacy. So yeah, he really just keeps me up, man. I usually am pretty hard on myself, especially after practices, and he's a carbon copy of me, damn near. He's a little bit more aggressive than me. He has a little bit of a short temper, but we're pretty similar. Obviously, he's a freak athlete. He runs a 4.4, 4.3. He's just can jump out of the gym. So, I always trusted him so much throwing him the ball, and I knew he'd go get it. But my parents have always been there, never missed a game. So, my dad raised us young to be aggressive in everything we do, and we were made to be football players. I'm very blessed to be able to be in this position, to be on the field with this team and to be able to lead this team. So.
That is a look at Wyatt Bauer, his brother Tarek. Tarek is older by 7 minutes, guys. He calls Wyatt pretty oftentimes little bro. 7-minute difference between the two of those guys. Tarek was Wyatt's top target in high school, made it to the state championship game. Those two. Football field at Corunna, like Coach Annese talked about, is named after Coach Annese's father, Nick. And the twins, they were originally committed to Saginaw Valley before flipping and coming here to Ferris State, guys. But let's talk about our Division III game previews, boys, as we quickly try and get through these and stay on track for the show here. Let's open things up. Carnegie Mellon taking on Muhlenberg, fellas. And Carnegie Mellon, this is the best 4-2 team in the country. I don't think that's a very crazy take, to be honest with you. Losses to UW La Crosse and Johns Hopkins that have performed very well on the national stage. These two head coaches, they have a combined record of 120 in today's contest heading into the matchup. Brendan McCullough, he needs 16 catches to become second all-time in program history for the Tartans. He only needs 54 yards to become the fifth all-time in receiving yards. So look for him to maybe have a day and break a couple records for Carnegie Mellon. Ooh. The Tartans, they've won 23 straight when scoring a defensive or special teams touchdown. So they need it in all three phases of the game against the talented Mule squad. And Coach Larson, he's as good of a human as they come, Cade.
Yeah, this Muhlenberg team, Kobe, they're 5-1 this year. This is by far their toughest matchup on their schedule yet. Their quarterback, Dante Mahaffey, he's got 1,000 yards, 13 touchdowns, and he's completing his passes at a 76% completion rate, which is absolutely unbelievable. It's effective and efficient. Defensively, they're led by a sophomore linebacker by the name of Thomas Cerruti. He has 53 tackles, 6 TFLs, 2 sacks, and 2 forced fumbles. The defense will have to win the turnover battle, and the offense will need to have long, effective drives if they want to win this game against this Carnegie Mellon defense.
They certainly will. Now, let's talk a little bit of WIAC action, boys. Platteville going on the road into Perkins Stadium against Whitewater. Jimmy, kick it off.
So the over-under in this one is 39 points. You can believe that. Whitewater coming in. Oh, thank you, Kobe. Thank you very much. Whitewater -2 here in this one. I was really impressed with Ryan Munz last week in the program he has built in that culture down at in Platteville. Holding lacrosse to 21 points is extremely impressive. Lacrosse is a really high-powered offense, so limiting them was huge for them last week. You're going to need to generate some turnovers in this one going into Perkins Stadium. You know, I'd say 2+ turnovers is going to be the recipe for this one. You got to keep feeding Trevor Seiss, too. I mean, that kid is an absolute playmaker. Throw that Seissy. Throw that kid the ball, man. Throw Trevor the rock, and then capitalize in the red zone, too. That's a huge part of this game for these guys.
You know, the thing about Whitewater, man, their offense has actually been so hard to watch so far. Now, not to say they're a bad offense, but it's hard to watch for me, a guy that played in the Top Gun offense and loves scoring a bunch of points and having a bunch of yards. But, you know, the thing about them is that defense is so good, so tough to game plan. Justin Klinkner, though, he's been doing whatever that team needs him to do, and so far it's been running the football as a quarterback here, you know, and I think it's really hard to win in this league unless you run the quarterback at least a decent amount, and you know, everybody really controls their own destiny at this point, and these are two really talented teams, two really talented defenses as well, you know, very similar play styles, so I'm excited to see, you know, what they do today. It's gonna be a big time matchup here in the WIAC and D3.
And you know what? To be honest, most weeks that would be the game of the week. I think this is it, fellas. Central at Wartburg, the ARC once again running through Waverly. Jimmy, tell me about the Knights.
So, you know, I led off with the point total for last game at 39. The point total for this one is 25.5.
And I might take the under.
I will take the under.
Somebody's going to win this game 3-6. Like, that's just how it's going to go.
That might be generous. 9 points is quite a lot. But, I mean, that just tells you how great this Wartburg defense is and the Central defense as well. You can't forget about those guys.
The Dutch.
The run game has also been excellent for Wartburg, running the ball for 243 yards a game. Absolutely stellar from those guys. Last week, obviously, going for 240 and over the 40-20 win over Loris. Loris, on the other hand, -24 rushing yards last week. -24 rushing yards last week for the Dewhawks. So, look for Wartburg to continue to have a dominant run defense and run game, for that matter.
Absolutely.
You know, the last time these two teams played, there was not an offensive touchdown scored. There was a defensive touchdown scored. No, I'm serious. There was a defensive touchdown scored.
That's crazy.
Right, and it was 10-6 last year. It was 3-6, and then Central fumbled. They threw like a backwards pass, and Wartburg ended up running it back. So it would have been 3-6 Central last year had it not been for that touchdown run back on defense. But Central, man, they're one of the best coached teams in all of Division III. Jeff McMartin is one of the most respected coaches in all of Division III. He was actually the president of the AFCA back in 2024, and since 2004. They have gone 163-50. They win a ton of football games. You know, Jace Grunder, another guy that I'm really familiar with, coaching against that team last year. He has carried a majority of that workload so far. Averages 111 yards per game so far this season. You know, Central has only won 3 of the last 10. You know, the 3 times that they did win, it was in dominant fashion, and you know, I could very easily see one of these two teams winning. Like I said, 10-3. That might be generous, or even maybe we'll get another 6-3 game. Who knows?
I would absolutely love that, boys. And let's talk about a team that maybe I didn't think we'd be mentioning at this point of the season. Mount Union playing host to Ohio Northern and the Polar Bears, Cade.
Yeah, I mean, this Ohio Northern team, they lost week 1 and they rattled off 5 straight. And I'll tell you right now. None of those 5 have even been remotely close. So, I mean, Ohio Northern, you say it every week with these teams playing the Giants, you know, the North Centrals, the Ferris States, you know, the Mount Unions. You can't lose a game before it starts, right? You got to have a good mindset, a clear mindset. They put their shoes on the same way everyone else does. You know, you got to have that same sort of mindset going in. They do average 41 points per game, giving up 16 per game. That's usually a good recipe for success. And I put this in a little parenthesis, question marks, because I don't know if anyone really has a real shot at Mount Union this year. But do the Polar Bears have the best shot to take down the Mount Union Purple Raiders?
We're going based on
today?
mascots, then absolutely.
In the regular season so far, they do. Like, they're the only ones that are
shot
kind
at
of
Mount
close
Union
at this
today?
point.
We'll see.
They have the best shot today.
Ohio Northern has upped their point total every week through 6 weeks in 2025. Unfortunately, that streak comes to an end today. Last week, they scored 56. And if they score 57 against Mount Union, I will fold this set in half. And this will be the last show that we do. With that being said, I'd be very impressed, fellas. But Mount Union, man. Mikey Maloney, Darnell Williams, one of the most dangerous tandems in all of D3 football, and that offensive backfield for the Purple Raiders. Only 6 turnovers in the year. They're not going to give teams extra chances to claw their way back into games. The defense has allowed 1 touchdown in the last 11 quarters of play, boys. And it sounds like Grand Valley State has just pulled in as we take a look here live at Ferris State in Big Rapids, Michigan, ahead of the Anchor Bone Classic. And I had to bring attention to this, boys. We got my guy over here on crutches. He had to make it out for the show. Grand Valley sucks on the sweatshirt. I absolutely love that that's how far this rivalry has come. Crutches, whether you can walk, crawl, or even just roll over here to the tailgate, these guys from Ferris State are absolutely showing up for the Dogs. But we'll keep things moving here with our last D3 football preview with Oshkosh heading on the road to La Crosse.
As far as the WIAC conference goes, Oshkosh is towards the bottom in both scoring offense and scoring defense. Stevens Point is the only team that is below them at this point. And here's what I'll say. And this isn't necessarily from someone that teams that I've heard this from, but I bet if you went around the league internally, I bet you say that Oshkosh is probably the team that everybody is least afraid of at this point. They have the one win against River Falls, of course. A bunch of turnovers happened in that game. But, the Linfield win looks a little less impressive now. But here's the thing. Anything can happen in the WIAC. I've said this all year. I could very easily see Oshkosh going in and winning. I don't necessarily think that's going to happen today, but I could very easily see it because of this dang conference.
I think for the WIAC picks the rest of the year, whatever team I think is going to win, I'm going to choose the opposite.
Flip it.
But Jimmy, tell me about the Eagles.
So this is a get-right game for the Eagles. Obviously last week, tough loss at Platteville. This is not a pushover game by any means, but this is definitely an opportunity to crack back into the top 10. Obviously, Kyle Haas played pretty well last week despite the loss, so I was pretty impressed with him. I talked to Yagi this week. There's still really good vibes in the locker room, and I expect La Crosse to win this one today. I feel pretty good about La Crosse today.
Okay, well, let's talk about the WIAC a little bit more, gentlemen. This is the WIAC Circle of Suck, and it's an unfortunate one for the best conference in D3 football. The top 6 teams in the conference have beaten each other. You see all the scores there. We have completed the perfect circle of cannibalization, I think is maybe a more apt term right here. Potentially the hardest games to predict in all of college football, and it really kind of hurts them come playoff time when you talk about these teams and their ability to just beat each other up and have all these ridiculous games during the course of the regular season, guys.
Well, and I think, honestly, having all these teams they're also in the top 25, depending on which poll you're looking at. Like all of these teams on this screen right now are in the top 25, and if they weren't going to continue to beat up on each other, they would continue to remain in the top 25 if they were in a different conference. But yeah, definitely don't suck, but it sucks to suck in the circle of suck.
Is there any shot? That there could be a legitimate 6-way tie for first place?
No, I don't think so at this point.
A 4-way tie was not out of the question last year, though. That would have been insane. But thankfully, the rankings that really matter for those teams are the NPI rankings for D3 football. The NPI is a metric used by the NCAA to help select and seed teams for the D3 football playoff. It combines several components: winning percentage, strength of schedule, home and away multiplier, quality win bonus, and overtime results. All that to say, a lot of numbers get put into equation. This is the result we get. And fellas, an interesting one. We got some good WIAC representation in here with teams like River Falls all the way up at the 6th spot. Of course, North Central at number 4 is a little bit mind-boggling.
Sure.
But again,
especially beating North Park by maybe 1 million points last week. But here's the best thing about this little graphic we got up on here. None of this crap matters if you win your conference, right?
You get in.
That's what I love about rankings and all this data and all this analytics stuff that come out. If you win your conference, you don't even have to think about this, boys, at all.
Control what you can control, and the rest certainly will take care of itself. But it is an interesting look to see how things will shake out in terms of obviously that Pool A, winning the conference, getting that automatic bid for conference champion, compared to what they call Pool C, which really is just a very fancy way of saying an at-large bid to the national dance, which is expanded to 40 teams now. So there's more opportunities than ever for the nation's largest level of football. Let me say, there's 260 or so Division III football teams. I might even be off. There's a lot of D3 football teams, and only 40 even now make the dance.
You know what I will say, though? The top 4 teams, though, need to be concerned with this particular graphic because at the end of the day, like if you're North Central, you want to host. If you're Johns Hopkins, you want them to come to you. Mount Union, you want them to come to you, depending on where you're at. But, yeah, I mean, absolutely, like, the rankings don't matter after number 4. In my personal opinion, you of course want to host, but of course, yeah, this is it's definitely a big deal.
It certainly is, and we'll shift and move on now from the MPI rankings. We look one more time at Ferris State here. This place is electric, boys. But first, we're checking in on the Bulldogs, Seth. You've got the inside scoop on the Bulldogs offense, what they've been able to do very well that has propelled them to the heights that they have reached in the national stage.
It's
time
do this thing.
for the film room with Coach Howard.
Of course, yeah. Welcome back to the film room with myself, of course. Hey, so today we are going to be talking about one of Ferris State's most explosive plays that they love to run. So we're going to let this thing run through just so you guys know that I kind of know what I'm talking about. So here we go. So we're going to start on the right side of this offensive line here. This is called what's called a seal hinge block. So this right tackle is not going to let anything inside of him, and he's going to stand up that defensive end. Now, this is power read, so it would not be power read if we did not have a backside puller here from this right guard here. I'm going to talk a little bit about here in a minute how we identify that, how we know who we're going to go block here in a minute. But this next block here, which is just a simple back block, it's not necessarily a simple block, or it's a simple block, but it's not necessarily an easy block per se, okay? So he's just taking that nose right here. Now this is called what's a double team right here. So the left tackle and the left guard are going to double team up to the backside linebacker in this particular play, so that left tackle is going to end up taking the wheel. Now we throw in some motions right here. The slot receiver is going to come and mesh with the quarterback here, and then the running back is actually going to act as what would be the tight end if there wasn't a motion in here. He's going to try to pin that same linebacker down, and we're going to try to get out on the edge. Now that leaves one guy left unblocked. That is actually going to be the defensive end. If he gets wide and goes with the motion, quarterback's going to pull it up through. And if he squeezes, takes that quarterback run away, then we are actually going to hand that ball off, and we're going to be out on the perimeter. Now, I want to kind of explain a little bit how we're going to ID this thing and how we're going to know who to block for who. Everything, now this is different terminology depending on what offensive line coach you got, but everything to the left side of this run play here is in the plus category. Everything to the right of the center is the minus category. Okay, so if we look at this particular look, this is kind of what's going to be on the screen here in a second. But this backside linebacker, or this will here, is actually going to be the -1, and that's going to come up here on the screen here in a second. But the -1 is essentially going to be who this left tackle and this left guard end up working up to. Some teams you might hear them say, hey, deuce, 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 or king, king, depending on, again, what system you're a part of. But that's going to tell you, hey, we're going to go up and work to this backside linebacker here. Now, if you ever hear your favorite team say, hey, 52's Mike, whatever the case is, that is actually telling you who we are going to pull for in this particular run scheme. So that backside guard is actually going to end up going and pulling for that Mike right here. Okay, so that is, if you ever hear, hey, someone's Mike, that is telling us who we're going to pull for here, okay? Now, let's see this thing in full action here. You're going to see we get that motion here that we talked about, and that's our read guy here. We're going to see what he does here in a minute, but you're going to see we got that nice double team working. We got our backside guard who's pulling through, and then, of course, we got that seal hinge. And you're going to see here, this defensive end gets wide, goes with that jet. Quarterback pulls it. This is actually
barbecue chicken, babe.
Not their starting quarterback, but an absolutely explosive play. They love this play. They're going to continue to run this play. It should be an absolutely electric day so far with that particular play, and that's power read for you boys.
It certainly will, as the tailgate lot here at Ferris State is only getting more packed by the minute, boys. Check out a look ahead of the Anchor Bone Classic here, 1 o'clock kick, Grand Valley State, Ferris State facing off in what is undoubtedly going to be an incredible contest this afternoon, fellas. Seth, great job, my friend.
Thank you.
Coach, good job.
Thank you, Coach Howard.
Yeah, all the offensive line coaches out there, that they never get the love. We always hear about these fun 4 verticals plays. We're talking power read on Small School Saturday today, baby.
I absolutely love that. Now it's time to shift gears a little bit, fellas. Jimmy, Cade, you're going to break it down. We don't necessarily have a lot of graphics to go with it. You're going to give us the guys we need to know about that are locks to cross the goal line today and score some points for their respective squads.
Yeah, what a fun and cool segment we get to do here. Obviously, we do not gamble, so we will not be placing any.
Correct.
Any
No
bets
gamble.
with
No
these.
gamble.
Is it legal in the state of Michigan?
But my first guy here, we're both going to have 3 guys. My first guy here, I talked about earlier on Delta State, the redshirt freshman running back, Nick Clark. He's got 10 already this year. I tend to follow the numbers. There's a pattern there where he scores a lot, so I think he'll get in today.
I like that. Jimmy, who you got? I think it's kind of a layup for you.
Yeah, I kind of want to talk about a guy who loves football. Monty Quinn. Monty Quinn ran for 520 yards last week.
NCAA record.
That's a real stat, by the way. I'm going to go out on a limb and say he scores a touchdown today, maybe even 2. Heck, I would not be surprised if he scored 6 touchdowns today.
Okay.
I mean, just give this kid the football. Give him the football and let him run.
Talk about a little bit of a GLIAC foe here with a guy who had a really good day against this Lakers squad a week ago.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously riding that high last week from beating a really good Grand Valley team. I'm going to go with the signal caller for the Saginaw Valley State Cardinals. That'll be Mason McKenzie. He's an absolute dog. He might be the most athletic quarterback in the GLIAC, and I said might, so don't come after me, all the GLIAC burners. But they're playing against a Wayne State defense that has struggled against the high-scoring, scoring-ish offenses, so I think he'll run one across the goal line today as well.
And then, moving over to Robbie Ballantyne here. This is a guy who scored 20 touchdowns last season. He's got 9 this year, so he's got a little catch up.
Wide receiver at DePaul. Make sure people know what you're talking about.
Yeah, of course, wide receiver at DePaul, Robbie Ballantyne. I mean, this is a guy. Dennison's going to have a little bit of a hard time containing him today. This is, the phrase, you can't stop him. You only hope to contain him. And that fits Robbie Ballantyne very, very well.
Absolutely.
And obviously Thomas Skonka, wide receiver from North Central College. He had a game this year with 5 touchdowns, so we know this kid can put the ball in the end zone. I think he's going to score the first touchdown of the game.
Wow. Oh,
boy.
Okay, a little bit of a boulder take there.
Kind of just finishing this segment up, I got a guy by the name of Tyree Holloway, the wide receiver from West Florida. I got 2 things down here. He's got 6 touchdowns already this year. He leads the team. And secondly, he's got Marcus Stokes throwing the ball. So he's going to
that always helps.
He's going to have a pretty clear route to the end zone today for the Argos.
Let's talk about a guy that was very recently a part of this national championship team at Ferris State. He was leading the charge for the Bulldogs. That is Trinidad Chambliss, the quarterback now at Ole Miss. He's the first SEC player in the last 30 years to have 300 yards passing and 50 rushing touchdowns in 3 consecutive games. But before that, he was the quarterback at Forest Hills Northern High School, where his senior year, he threw for 1,600 yards and 17 touchdowns, boys. You see him here tearing it up in the Friday night lights. He committed to Ferris State. Coach Annese said he didn't really know where Trinidad would fit in the offense. Quarterback, slot, defensive back. The one thing he promised is that he'd give him an opportunity to win the job. He did just that. When the starter Carlson Golker went down in the second game last year, Trinidad stepped up. He led this team to a national championship, accounted for 50-plus total touchdowns in the process, boys. Coach Annese said it best. Playing high-pressure football translates, no matter the level. That was on display versus one of the best teams in the country as he took on Georgia last week, and he has been doing that all year, boys. Ole Miss is doing a phenomenal job with Trinidad Chambliss under center for the Rebs. Lane Kiffin has had a lot of really good things to say about his new signal caller, and what a great day to showcase the developmental abilities of this Ferris State coaching staff, right? We're talking about a team that is only going to become more of a destination for big-time transfers and high school prospects alike, boys. Certainly had to make sure we got time in there to talk about Trinidad because, again, friend of the program, absolutely big fan of his on and off the field, a phenomenal human, and a guy that needs to be talked about when you're talking about Ferris State right now, boys. But
just to add a personal story, I think he was, outside of Donovan Edwards back in high school, Trinidad Chambliss was the best athlete I've ever seen on a football field.
I can
personally,
attest, yeah.
Like playing against, being on the same field. I mean, it just felt like he was the only guy out there playing against him. He's an unbelievable athlete and a good human, too.
And what we want to talk about now are the SP Plus rankings from ESPN's Bill Connolly. They are a predictive measure of college football efficiency that takes into account a team's performance adjusted for its pace of play and opponent quality. Can you tell that part was a little scripted?
Yeah.
Yeah. I just want to make sure I get the words right.
Not very often, but you got to do it every once in a while.
All you need to know is that this guy ranks all 766 teams in college football. Fellas, Ferris State is very high on the list, guys. Let's take a look at the top of the food chain. The FBS programs ranked below Ferris State in the SP+. Florida International, Northern Illinois, Eastern Michigan. Let's talk about some MAC teams here in the Midwest. Ball State, not on top of the Dogs. Middle Tennessee State, you go down the list. There are some very notorious names that found themselves underneath Ferris State in this SP Plus top 766. The Bulldogs, man, they've certainly earned the right to be in that conversation. UL Monroe coming out and closing out that list, boys. The Bulldogs have earned a lot of respect, whether it's from the talking heads of the national media that have just learned of this place from Trinidad or from the algorithms that put together these equations. It ranks every team, and right now, like I said earlier, Ferris State is ranked 140th out of all teams in college football. They are 2 spots behind Oklahoma State. And it's just a ridiculous number.
Yeah,
It's a really fun one. We'd love to see the Dogs go up against all of those teams, and I think I can speak for all of us. Those teams on the graphic, these games would be incredibly competitive. I go back to that game at Montana, an FCS powerhouse, where this one really came down to the fourth quarter, a low-scoring affair that Ferris was in really every step of the way. I wish we could get one of those a year where Ferris just we take the best Division II team in the country, which has been Ferris State football, and we go and pit them up against a lower level FBS opponent. I would love to see how the Dogs fare.
Oh, when I played Mary and Baylor back in 2018, I know our team wasn't all that good, but like I thought that team had a shot against Alabama that year. But no, seriously, that would be awesome to see. Like, some of these D3, these high-level D3 and D2 teams, oh my gosh, they would absolutely fare well against some of these lower-level FBS teams, in my humble opinion.
To me, it's really all at the line of scrimmage, right? And that's where Ferris State excels. You look at their offensive line, their defensive line, fellas. The whole starting offensive line from Ferris State last year, they all fielded Power 5 offers. Power 4. I mean, I guess, are we with the time?
We'll call it that for now. There's
dude,
2 teams left in
their offensive line. I don't know if we have any hockey watchers on the listen to the pod, but it's literally a line change.
Yes.
They will take 5 guys out, like tap the boards, jump over the boards. Here we go, fellas. Get to the net, get pucks on net. But no, they have 5 guys that come out and go in.
No
It's
way.
incredible.
Really?
Yes.
It's incredible.
It's unbelievable.
I'm so excited for this football game.
I don't know if it's I don't
we
know
have
if it's
seen
still,
that though. When
but-
Jaron Bernhardt was quarterbacking this team, and they literally made a line
dude.
change, it was incredible to
They
see
played
the
10
depth.
linemen.
The depth on this team is
Insane.
very, very impressive, boys. And I talked about all 5 starting offensive linemen received Power 4 offers. Guess what? 3 of them came back. Wow. That's all that you need to know about this Ferris State program. So we're excited to talk about that matchup more, of course, as we get closer. But we're going to head to a quick break, fellas. On the other side of the break, we'll be joined live at the desk here on Small School Saturday by Scott Wooster, the head coach of the Grand Valley State Lakers. Stick with us. We'll see you on the other side. On the other side of the break now and joined live at the desk, it's one of the only head coaches with a winning record against the Dogs, the head coach for the Grand Valley State Lakers, Scott Wooster. Woo!
Hey, appreciate you, Kobe. D1 Rejects, man.
Yes.
This is full circle.
Yes,
I
this
can
is
remember
cool.
back,
This is
I don't
cool.
know what year it was, Lake Orion High School.
Yes, sir.
Guidance office, right? Sitting down, talking about your future, man, your future, and then look at you now.
Man,
Look at you now.
I appreciate
Yes,
that,
sir.
Coach. And
Yeah.
I remember that conversation very vividly because, one, there weren't a ton of coaches stopping by to tell Kobe Manzo, but two, you left a lasting impression on me. I truly believe that. When you were previously at Wayne State, I just remember walking away from that meeting. You know, they always say, you might not remember what a person says, but you certainly will remember how they make you feel. And I do remember that, Coach.
No question. And I think it was likewise. And then to watch your career in Northern Michigan and then doing this now, it's just – this is what it's all about. You know, they talk about wins, trophies, everything else we're going to talk about today, but the relationships, you know, and never know where it comes full circle. So this is phenomenal.
It certainly has. And I had the chance and the pleasure to talk with some of your players earlier this week. Anthony Cardamone was one that stuck out. I asked him about your leadership style. He was very quick to bring up the word faith. The faith that you put into the players and the captains and the leadership group of this team is something that he talked a lot about. How do your guys go about earning that faith and that trust, and how has this leadership group helped righten the ship, so to speak, in 2025?
Oh, it's incredible. You know, and I think in 2024 we had some tremendous leaders in 23, Cade Peterson, Abe Swanson, Garrett Carroll, McCarroll, just an outstanding group. And in 2024, you know, college football starts turning upside down, 23, 24, transfer portal, NIL, revenue share, everything that's on the landscape now. And I think we felt that a little bit. We felt that in our culture. And there were some guys, particularly Brett Weaver, Anthony Cardamone, but Jimmy Downs, Sion Uzma-Harper, I mean, I can go on and on. Kellen Reed, a lot of those guys you talked to in January said, no, that's not going to be who we are, right? And we can be different, and it can be about love, and it can be about relationships. It can be about all those things we just talked about. Yeah. And I think you go through some tough times. We go on the road, lose a tough one to Pitt State, obviously a rivalry game last week, and you know, do some really uncharacteristic things to lose a football game. And that's when it really shows up, right?
Yes, sir.
That love, that leadership, that belief, right? That belief.
And I talk with the guys about that, and the first thing that they're also very quick to assure me, there is no panic button over there in Allendale, right? I think there's an assumption, and maybe a wrong assumption from the outside of that facility, outside of those walls, that right now this Grand Valley State team has their backs against the wall. You and I both know that can also be a very good thing, because that's when some teams are most dangerous. They said, though, that's not the case. This is a team that still has all of their goals for 2025 still ahead of them, especially with a little bit of an expanded playoff that may help you guys with in terms of your national aspirations. Obviously, we got a trophy to take care of today, Coach, but I'm excited to watch that one. But what was the messaging from you to them after that Saginaw loss, and how do you keep a group like that together?
Yeah, and I think, you know, you lean on the leadership a little bit, and that player-led element of it. You lean on the belief. You lean on what the foundation is. We all we got, the foundation of now here.
Love that.
There's an opportunity that could be nowhere now here, right? And spending time with Coach Winters there at Wayne, you mentioned Wayne State, and he talked about it through positive mental attitude. And for every adversity, there's a seed of equivalent benefit, and could be greater benefit. And we talk about it in our program as now here. So there was the pragmatic end of what we didn't do to win the football game a week ago. And even before that, our process in terms of up at Northern Michigan, played really good defense, didn't play well offensively early
in the
on.
first half, right? Slow start for you guys.
Right.
It started to figure it out, but obviously against an opponent like Northern, you don't want to have 2 quarters of quote-unquote good football, all 3 phases. You got to put teams like that away.
No question, no question. So there's the pragmatic end, and then there's the cultural foundational end of, you know, we're here, we're not going anywhere, we're ready to go.
Yes, sir. I love that. Seth, what do you got for Coach?
You know, Coach, sometimes, you know, teams that have 2 losses, they spiral. But I always say, like I said earlier on the show, good teams don't do that. They just regroup and get better. What is your message, and what has the mindset been this week at practice?
No, and that's it. The response to it, the growth part of it, reaching higher this week. And then, just it comes down to the belief. And the belief in each other, the belief in themselves. And we talked about, you know, we went back a few years in this rivalry and looked at some of the plays that were made and the guys that made those plays, and they're in our locker room, right? They were on their buses up here, and you know, it's the next guy to make that play, and that's what I'm excited to see today. The next guy that's going to make that play.
I love that.
Let's talk about the next guy under center for you. Schuster is a guy that is, as the trolley whips behind us here, Schuster is a guy that has been very impressive, I think. A young but talented presence under center for the squad. A Grand Valley State team that has had some very impressive quarterbacks in that room in very recent history. I want to know, from your perspective, what has Schuster done so far in 2025 that has maybe surprised or impressed you, and how have you been able to maybe start to slowly uncover what his true ceiling can be?
No, and I think, Kobe, that's the deal. I mean, last week, right? We don't play good on offense. We're not doing the things that foundationally that we believe in we're doing, but then it comes down to a 2-minute drill. And he takes us down the field, puts the ball in the end zone, and then bet on our guys, and he put a great ball out there on the 2-point conversion, right? So we've seen that all year from him. You know, and you take an Andrew Schuster and give the credit where the credit is due, yes, to Andrew, but that support system.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I got a chance to recruit Tommy.
Yes.
About the same time.
Oh, yeah, I was going to say, because I'm pretty sure I played against him at Chip.
Yeah.
So he was a dog, I believe he's with Michigan State now. He's had a very interesting career through college.
Went out to North Dakota and tore it up. But so
what a
there's
family, man.
Yeah, there's the pedigree there, right? And Coach Murch, Coach Dentrider,
yes,
and then Coach Shoemaker here developing them. So there's some things that we are extremely excited about the future, but right now, too, he's just got an ability that maybe you don't see in too many redshirt freshmen first time starting. And I think we really saw that start to get uncovered. But even Black Hills State, Pitt State wasn't going the way we wanted to go, and he just kept on spinning the thing, and that's exciting.
To be fair, the jungle, I don't know if there's any redshirt freshman that could just walk in there and roll out and draw out a 2-minute drive, you know, whatever you need to happen there. That's a very tough place to play. The MIAA has certainly found that out. Pitt State maybe didn't have the start that they wanted. I'm sure you've been watching. They've started rolling some teams down there, which helps your case, of course. But, Jimmy, what do you got for Coach?
So, Coach, with all the talent, the great talent in the state of Michigan, how important is in-state recruiting to you guys?
It's everything. Yeah. It's everything. As you look at our roster up and down, it is our foundation, and it's where we're building this thing. And, there's a couple portal guys and a couple transfers that have really, really helped out in the last couple of years, particularly this year right now. On defense, you'll see a little bit on offense this year, but one of those guys is a Michigan guy.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I think that, the basis of high school recruiting, I'm a former high school coach. We believe in development. I've got a tremendous strength and conditioning coach in Landon Mitchell. So taking those 17, 18-year-olds, building it from the high school ranks and building it from the state of Michigan. And I think you're seeing that. People take different philosophies across college football, and feel like it's really been great for us in terms of the now and going to be the future.
Yeah, and it's neat to see the same kind of similar perspective. Just talk with Annese, who spent a lot of time at the high school level. A lot of great coaches come from the high school ranks, right, and work their way up into these very big-time college roles, which is exciting to see. But defensively for you guys, you felt the effects of the transfer portal as many of the top Division II football teams did last year. Now, you talked about it. You've still got some dudes on that side of the ball. Cardamone and Downs certainly come to mind right away. But how have you and your staff gone about maybe rebuilding and retooling, maybe is a better word, for that defensive secondary in particular, and getting that group to play cohesively and play together?
No, and Coach Lewis has just done a remarkable job. Bringing Coach Caruth on, former Laker, got all 4 national championship rings, done a phenomenal job with our defensive line up front there. But there's some youth. There's no question about it. And but then sprinkled in, Josh Anderson, transfer safety force, has been playing at a high level. You take Jamari Budden at the defensive end, T.Y. Jackson at the defensive tackle. But then it goes right back to what we just got done talking about in terms of high school recruiting and believing in our development. Got 2 young guys in there, 3 young guys really at the defensive tackle position. Jabril Condi, you got Josh Williams, got RJ, right? Young guys that are really coming into their own at the defensive line position. Kamani Potts, Ryder Graveroff, all Michigan guys that are tearing it up for us right now.
Yeah, that's really cool.
And then the back end, some guys that maybe haven't had their chance because of the Ian Kennellys, the Kobe Haywards, and all those guys that had so many starts and played so many reps for us.
Been fun to follow Ian, by the way, man.
Yeah,
he has been making
cool.
quite the impression.
Cool,
That's
right?
awesome.
Yeah, and he's back with us now.
There you go.
He's
That's
back
cool.
with us helping out, which is really cool. Sweet. Full circle thing. But Quinn Wills is playing at a really high level right now. Deontay Pippen, Trey Green. So, it's a really good mix of, we bring back essentially 2 starters from that defense a year ago, bring in some guys with some experience, but then, just again, bet on our development, bet on our coaching, bet on our recruiting. And we're playing a really high level of defense right now.
And the last thing for you, Coach, this environment, it's no stranger to you, but playing here in Big Rapids at Top Taggart in front of these fans, how do you navigate the blackout? How do you play inside of what is going to be a very hostile environment this afternoon?
Well, I think, Kobe, you said it. This is what you come to Grand Valley State for, right?
Yeah.
And I've said this a million times, but rivalry football, Grew up in the Michigan-Ohio State days. Woody Hayes, Bo Schembechler now with the Anchor Bone, and with Coach Annese and doing such a great job, great football team, and kind of complete each other in that, right?
Yes.
But at 1 p.m. it's going to come down to a football game within the white lines,
Absolutely.
right?
Love
and
it.
execution, right? Channeling that emotion, right? The belief, all those things we talk about. The response is a good football team. They're going to make plays. Our response to those big plays, execute the next one. We talk about a 1-for-1 mentality.
Yes, sir.
Only way to be perfect is going 1-for-1, right?
Yes,
So we weren't perfect last week. Go be perfect this week, and that's going 1-for-1, and that's each play, right? Lifespan of a game, 3.5 hours, right? And it's over. Lifespan of a play, 4 to 6 seconds, and it's over, and let's go on to the next play, and let's play this play. Be 1-for-1 on this play, and that's what it's going to come down to. Who goes 1-for-1 the most often, Kobe? That's what these games come down to.
Inject that right into the freaking locker room, man. Let's go, Coach. Thank you so much for joining us. Absolute privilege to have you at the desk. So excited to see you in the Lakers this afternoon. The head coach of the Grand Valley State Lakers, Scott Wooster. Coach, thank you so much, man.
Pleasure
You're all
having
set.
me on, Coach.
Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Excited to get into this game here. And we'll stick with the Lakers as we continue onward here in Small School Saturday. And guys, we've got a very fun story about one of Coach Wooster's most talented players on the offensive side of the ball. We're talking about Kellen Reed, but we're not talking about his on-field exploits as of late, but more on his intern opportunity with the Big 12 and a professional opportunity that could open some fun doors throughout the rest of his off-the-field career.
So my sister, she's been working in athletics for a while. She worked for the Big East for a while, and then now she's down with the Big 12. So, kind of just talking to her, I'm trying to figure out, get to the end of my career. I need to figure out what I'm going to do after. So, I can get a jump start on it. I head down to Dallas with the Big 12 for their media days. I got to help out with that. It was a two-day little thing, like getting stuff together. I got to see, like, at the D1 level how things are, like, everything flows, like everything is pretty cool. Like I got to meet some of the guys, I got to see some of their gear, it was really cool seeing like how everything operates at that level. I was on the headset, so I was making some play calls, and then I was also, I helped do a lot of the setup. I was a young guy, so I had to do a lot of the dirty work, but I was going out there resetting the helmets and stuff, making sure people were where they're supposed to be at certain times. So that was really good to get that experience. Before that, I kind of wanted to go into like marketing, but I kind of want to get out of the marketing side and go into maybe game operations and event operations, and kind of just be behind the scenes. One day I was there for 12 hours, the next day I was there for probably about 13. So it's going to be a grind. You're going to be there for long days, but like find stuff to do. Like there were times where I was sitting there kind of doing nothing. I went to go ask some people like, what can I do? I was going and finding work instead of just sitting there. So it's kind of just like football, like go find work. Always go find work. So that's how I tried to stay occupied that whole entire time.
You heard it there from Kellen Reed, the star receiver for Grand Valley State. And Cade, I think you and I talked about it a little bit. It feels like he's been playing for the Lakers for a lifetime. And the reason for that, he's a redshirt junior. He came on the scene from his first snap as a redshirt freshman. This guy has been electric for Grand Valley State in all phases of the game, whether it is his on-the-field exploits on offense at wide receiver spot or in the return game as a specialist. He's very good in all phases of those, but
he's got another year?
I think so. He's used his time at Grand Valley well, and that opportunity at the Big 12 Conference, a very unique one, and hopefully opening some professional doors for Kellen down the road, guys. But let's move on. Let's talk about our NAIA game previews, fellas, as we get into talking about some of the best contests in all the country. We're going to start in the Midwest. Marion taking on Olivet Nazarene in a top 25 matchup down there in Illinois. And Marion, what you need to know about this team, guys, is they're coming off a 49-0 win against the St. Francis team in Indiana on their homecoming, in which they looked absolutely dominant. Marion, the Knights, they have just continued to put together the blocks over the course of 2025 and continued to improve. And that's a great measuring stick for any program, especially when you're the number 8 team in the nation. So they get it done in the red zone, 32 of 34 on scoring opportunities, 29 of those ending in 6 points or more with touchdowns, respectively. A lot of things to be very happy about if you're that Marion fan. Expect them to do much of the same in today's matchup, Jimmy.
Yeah, here taking host is Olivet Nazarene as 6.5-point underdogs. Fun fact for you guys, the Chicago Bears used to do their training camp in Bourbonnais, Illinois.
Yeah.
Really?
Olivet Nazarene is, yes, that's pretty cool. And
Great
by the way,
poll, Jim.
Thank you. What is with the NAIA and these crazy offenses, by the way? It's like
tell
the
you
Wild
why.
West of division, or excuse me, NAIA football.
Yeah.
College football in
It's
general.
the widest gap.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like you got
It's
like
crazy.
really good D2 teams all the way down to like really, really crappy D3
There's
teams.
a lot
It's
of
nuts.
parity. Yeah.
They're all, yeah.
And speaking of crazy offenses, Olivet Nazarene can put some points on the scoreboard. 45.7 per game total and 53 points a game in conference this year. So they've been getting it done. Almost 3,000 yards of total offense with nearly 500 yards a game with 496 a game. Also, a pretty solid defense as well, only giving up 22 points a game in the NAIA. 22 points a game. Not bad defensively.
Yeah, I would love to actually just see the averages for across the entire kind of level or division, because I'm with you. The NAIA is certainly the Wild West of college football. That just makes it so much more fun to talk about. One constant in NAIA football has been the domination of Grandview and the Vikings. Today, they've got a big-time matchup, and unfortunately, wrong logo on the graphic there. That's a different Nazarene. They've got Mid-America Nazarene in a big-time game of top 25 clash. Grandview, #1 in the country. They've got a lot to be excited about, Seth. Talk about the hometown team.
You know, here's the thing. Yeah, the hometown team, of course, right? Drake University would not like that. That's their branding shout out. But here's the thing, though. I think Grandview really isn't going to be worth talking about until it gets cold out. Well, now, with that being said, it's getting a little nippy outside. So it's going to need to get a little bit colder for it to bring them into the forefront here. But they've been dominant in literally every single part of the game so far this season. We'll talk a little bit more about this guy here in a second, Jackson Waring. But he's had himself an absolute year. They've only been giving up 273 yards per game,
Tough
which
as nails
it might sound like a lot, but in reality, that is not a lot of yards in today's way of playing football. I expect them to be absolutely dominant yet again today, boys.
Cade, what can you tell me about this other side?
Yeah, I mean, this MNU team, they're 5-2. Both their losses coming by one score. I say it every week playing these, highly ranked teams. Their mindset. You cannot lose this game before you even step on the field, right, Kobe? I mean, offensively, look to feed the running back, Devin Andrews. He has 500 yards and 6 TDs on the ground already this year. Defensively, #1, Jonathan Brown looked to lead this Nazarene squad. He's accounted for 58 tackles, 9.5 TFLs, 2.5 sacks, and 2 pass breakups.
I feel like you always draw those teams that are taking on maybe the best team in the country.
Yeah, I mean, it just goes wild hand in hand with my type of personality.
I love that, dude. I love that. We'll flip over. Friends, the Falcons taking on Southwestern in the KCAC matchup, 1:30 Central Time down there in Winfield, guys. And friends, this is the most high-powered offense in basically all of NAIA football. I think the stats really would back it, and it's not maybe in the way that you expect. Of course, we've talked about the option. We've talked about Cavante Baker on this show well enough. But what that means is that they are consistent as hell. They do it week in, week out. They don't care who lines up against them. Friends went from a feel-good story to a dominant force inside of the KCAC and in the national field, in the playoff field. So 480 rushing yards per game as a team is not anything to scoff at if you're the Mound Builders on the other side, and 48 touchdowns to go with that. There might be kind of the notes here, Jimmy, 100 points today in this one.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, absolutely absurd.
That would go along with our NAIA take.
Yeah, and let me tell you why there might be 100 points today. So Southwestern hosting as 2.5-point underdogs, over under 68.5. I'm going to read you guys their last 4 games, how many points they've scored. 61, 80, that's with an 8 and a 0, if you believe me. 62 and 74. These look like basketball scores, guys. I mean, absolutely ridiculous stuff. On that, thanks to Jamie Odom, by the way. Absolute dog. 2,500 yards and 33 touchdowns for the Jinx. And Matthew Holthusen as well. 860 yards and 10 touchdowns receiving.
Oh my gosh.
So, yeah, these guys, they can score some points.
Yeah, that is a very impressive one. And you want to talk offenses, these might be 2 of the best in all of NAIA football. Southeastern taking on St. Thomas.
Yeah, I mean, for this Southeastern team, Kobe, they're 5-1 to start the year. They're hard-nosed, fast, physical football team. Defensively, led by a guy by the name of Thomas Ibrahim. He'll look to lead these boys today. He has team-leading 14 TFLs already this year. They're going to have to slow down Keely Watson in that St. Thomas offense, and Ibrahim will play a huge part in doing so.
Certainly will, man.
You know, for St. Thomas, this season kind of feels like Groundhog Day from every other year. You know, they're one of the best teams in NAIA, but it just so happens that there's a team team in their conference that's also probably one of the best teams in the country as well.
Kaiser was tough.
Being Kaiser, yeah, it's always going to be a tough one. But again, arguably one of the best teams in the country if they don't have to go play them every year. In the last 8 matchups with Southeastern, they won the first 4. St. Thomas has won the last 4. And so, something's got to give there today. Keely Watson has been playing out of his mind so far this year.
And not to cut you off, Seth, how about the O-line coach turning up in the locker room?
I love it.
With St. Thomas down there in Miami Gardens.
Anytime the offensive line coach gets to dance, I am happy. Absolutely. I bet they run some power read down there, I would have to guess. But, like I said, Keely Watson, 16 touchdowns, only 2 interceptions, playing really efficient. Expect him to try to do the same thing today.
Certainly will. We'll go back out now to the GPAC in the great state of Iowa. Kick things off with Midland traveling to Dordt. The Defenders right now seemingly could really be a contender for this GPAC championship.
Really
that
could.
Morningside matchup obviously looming, but today they've got the task of hosting a Midland squad. Jimmy, that's
You
been
don't
pretty
want
solid.
to look past Midland today.
Yes.
Obviously, going into a game as 20.5-point underdogs, you're going to generate some turnovers, and they have done a lot of that. 16 takeaways as a defensive unit this season for Midland. I think you're going to need 3+ on the road against this Dordt squad if you want to come out and win this one. They're no stranger to sacks either. 15 sacks this season. And obviously, you got to get sacks on first and second down. Put Dordt in difficult situations, 3rd and long. Things of that nature. And they're gonna have to make a lot of plays on offense to get this one done too. Explosive plays, capitalizing the red zone, et cetera, et cetera.
How about the Defenders?
Yeah, and this Defenders team, I was telling these guys earlier, they might be my favorite team in college football.
Hey!
They are 6-0.
Not the best team in Iowa, even though.
I mean, 6-0, 20-point favorite. Get the job done, Defenders, right? Playmaking weapon, Elliott Beal, who in fact is a threat to his defenders. He has 460 yards and 5 touchdowns to lead the Dordt team through the air. Running back Thomas Fritz, he had 9 for 120 and a touchdown last week in their win versus Mount Marty. And then it could be a, quote, trap game. Anything that could get in this Dordt team's way needs to stay out of the locker room, and those boys need to keep winning ball games.
I like that. And we'll switch gears now, move over a little bit to talk more NAIA football, fellas, but not one of the matchups as we, again, check in on the matchup here. Grand Valley State showing out in full force now. It's going to be a blackout for Ferris State and the Bulldogs hosting Grand Valley at 1 o'clock. We might have Gandalf behind the set. This is going to be an awesome atmosphere.
Only on Small School Saturday.
We make our way into
Gandalf
the stadium.
the Wizard.
We've seen Gandalf and Spider-Man today, a crossover episode.
With a Borg, I believe.
I think you're correct, unfortunately. But here we are taking a look at Ferris State, guys, and we're going to talk more NAIA football, but more importantly, about the man leading the charge for that Grandview team. Once again, not talking about his on-field exploits. Jackson Waring, the quarterback for Grandview, he's the only finalist from the NAIA level for the William V. Campbell Trophy. This is college football's premier scholar athlete award. It combines academic success, football performance, and exemplary leadership. There are 16 finalists, guys, across all divisions of college football. They each get $18,000 scholarships, post-grad scholarships that go towards, of course, their continued education in their respective majors and fields and those type of things. The finalists, they'll all make their way to the Bellagio in Las Vegas on December 9th for an awards dinner.
I was just there.
And for a formal announcement and presentation of the William V. Campbell Trophy.
I want to go. Can
Only
I go?
one D3.
Can D1 Rejects cover that?
Robbie Ballantyne is the one Division III finalist for the award.
I wonder if I want the Ballantyne parents to come out and say which son is their favorite at this point.
Don't do
It's
that.
Robbie,
Don't
you
do
know
that.
it. But
Don't
Scott
do
definitely been feeding his brother the ball so far this year. Shout out to Robbie. One of my favorite, maybe my favorite receiver in all of Division III football.
Yeah, I think that might be the consensus. Well, I'm not sure, but he certainly is on the list.
North Central's
might
might have something to say about
But
that.
talking about Waring a little bit more, fellas, he is, of course, as I mentioned, the one lone finalist from the NAIA ranks for this very prestigious award. As we take a look at the team actually presenting the award to him at practice, this is the guy that was the 2024 National Player of the Year. He led the Vikings to, of course, that national championship a year ago. A 3.88 GPA. He's getting his master's in organizational leadership. He has a bachelor's in psychology from Grandview, which is a very fun deal. He's a 3-year team captain. He's already got 16 passing touchdowns and 1,200 yards in 2025. He has certainly earned the respect of that locker room and that group over there in Des Moines. Correct?
Psychologically tearing those defenses apart.
Dude's got aura.
That's certainly one way to say it, boys. And we'll continue on. Let's get into our segment today where we're talking about some of the craziest lines, spreads, over-unders, and overall numbers in all of college football. I am, of course, referring to our Line Breakers segment. Seth, I believe you are kicking us off with the Line Breakers.
Of course, there's a line out there for 78.5 total points here today. And as we just put up there on the screen, Nichols and Endicott to hit that over. Now, there's one main reason why I think that's going to happen, and that's because the old Nichols squad, they know how to give up some points. And,
Nichols, justice for Nichols. They have
Justice
become
for Nichols.
They have become the punching bag of small school Saturday.
They are.
Do something about
Unfortunately.
it.
On the other side of the coin, they may have gotten more screen time than many other teams.
That
on small
is-
school
no such
Saturdays.
thing as bad
Good for them
publicity.
going
There's no
forward.
such
This
thing
will-
as bad publicity.
Well,
Unless you're giving up 1,000 points a game, which they absolutely are. So, Endicott, give me Endicott to score 79 points today here, boys.
okay.
Wow.
That is
That's a lot of points.
That's a wild one.
Some of the
and-
most points we've ever
Yeah,
seen.
you would have said 9 points would have been a lot, but or 90 points would have been a lot, sorry, which they gave up this year.
92, in fact.
Correct. That Coast Guard game certainly comes to mind, fellas. My pick, though, is Findlay to cover a 17.5-point spread over Ohio Dominican. I think this is a little bit more of a bolder take. Findlay's offense has not been one to maybe light up the scoreboard and fill up the box score so far in 2025, but it's been their defense that has kept teams from doing that exact same feat, and that to me is the difference today over what has been a back and forth and kind of up and down Ohio Dominican team that had that statement win over Tiffin earlier in the year. We talked about that earlier on, but Findlay, excuse me, they are performing very well in 2025. Again, if this offense finds a way to put some big-time points on the board, the defense is going to be stifling for Coach Allen and company down there.
Yeah, kind of, just going along with the segment here. I'm going to take Emory and Henry -6.5 against a good Newberry squad. I like this Emory and Henry team. I think that it's too many points. I get it, they're on the road. Could be a tough environment. Am I familiar with Newberry's atmosphere? Not at all, but I do like this Emory and Henry squad.
Don't count the Newberry crowd out of this one. I think that's worth the 7 points, maybe.
Well, good thing it's not your pick, and it's mine. So I think these boys
He's very
get it done
defensive
today.
about this pick so far, everybody.
Yeah, it's personal.
That's
Hey,
good.
I love Emory and Henry, too.
Yeah,
They're
Emory and Henry.
They're
Again,
very
they
good.
talk about a team that we've talked about so much on this show, and they'd be on the top of my list of teams that, hey, to be honest, I didn't think we'd be talking about the Wasps so much in 2025. They have forced us to do that and talk about them in these big-time matchups, Jim.
Yeah, speaking of a matchup in the WIAC here, the Blue Devils taking host in homecoming to the UW Stevens Point Pointers at -18.5. Rolled Devils, obviously tough week last week at Perkins Stadium. Taking a tough loss to Whitewater. Big bounce-back week this week. Expect Averon Carter and Devonta Evans to get a lot of targets in the first half because they probably won't be playing much in the second half.
It's not going to be close. This isn't enough points. Sorry, and honestly, like, Eau Claire's playing a lot better, but the Pointers got a long way to go, boys. So,
And you know what? It's kind of worth mentioning. Like in the WIAC, you can't have all these teams get all these wins if there aren't a couple teams to, not everyone can win. I mean,
It's going to be the Adam
let's
Moen
say that
show.
nicely. Let's say
it's
that
going to be the
nicely.
Adam Moen show all day today at Williams Stadium.
Fair enough pick, fellas. We'll move and transition right over now to our difference makers for today's matchup. Ferris State, Grand Valley. These two teams feature some of the top talent in all of Division II football. We've seen both of them get poached by many Power 4 Division I type programs, but the talent retention on both these sides has been incredibly impressive. They got a lot of talent currently in these 2025 rosters. Seth, start us off with your pick from Ferris State.
well, let me ask you this. Is leading the GLIAC in sacks good?
I would
think
go
so.
a firm yes.
It's pretty good.
so.
Give me the 300-pound, 6'3" defensive
I'm
lineman,
sure.
absolute massive human being, and leading the GLIAC in sacks. Give me Caleb Davis from Ferris State University. Coming in to this season, he only had a sack and a half in his entire career.
And he's just exploded.
And now he's got 5 in 7 games. He's having an absolutely monster season so far. He is a big reason why it's an absolute nightmare to prep for, especially if you're this Grand Valley team coming into this game.
Yeah, and this D-line from Ferris, man, you talk about this squad. I talked with a couple of the guys from Grand Valley earlier on this week. You know who they're really happy is no longer playing, Kay? You might remember this name, Victor Nelson, the old Saginaw Valley defensive lineman that was built like an absolute bowling ball on steroids. He came to Ferris,
short
and he
wide.
was a run stopper, a hole plugger, and he was the guy that anchored down this Ferris front for a couple of years
kind
there.
of like a DJ Reader.
Yes, and he was very, very tough to play against. They're happy he's not on that side of the ball anymore defensively, but Ferris State, if we know anything about them, they're going to reload, Kay. Talk about someone on the other side of the ball for GVSU.
Yeah, so my pick here, it might be a little homer pick, but Jamari Budden, the defensive lineman from Grand Valley State. This kid is nothing new to winning. He's came from a winning program at Belleville. Obviously, they've had a ton amount of success at that program. Sorry, I can't catch myself here. But he went to Penn State out of high school, right? He actually appeared in 13 games in Happy Valley. He's 6'3", 256. He uses his size so well, especially in the run game. He's able to swallow guys up in the heart of that defensive front. He's got 21 tackles, 2 sacks, 2 forced fumbles already, and 3 QB hits this far. If there's one thing you can count on for this Grand Valley State defense, is that Jamari Budden is going to come to play and take up a lot of space doing so.
And again, you talk about different departures, the transfer portal, and at the defensive line spot specifically, Grand Valley State, they had a couple of those that really have hurt. You lose some guys to graduation, like our guy, Jack Gilchrist, that again, friend of the program, that has now actually got a high school teaching job as well, which is a neat deal, a neat plug for Jack. But also a guy like Josh that transferred out and is playing at Tennessee now from Grand Valley.
Connor
or
Neer.
a guy like Connor Neer's on the other side of the ball. That's Ferris, but good try.
Yep. Same thing.
We're talking D-line, Grand Valley. Niles King comes to mind certainly right away, going on to play a Division I. This team has reloaded at a very tough position and one that needs to be very good for them in 2025 and this afternoon. Jimmy, who else on GV do you need to be aware of?
Yeah, we talked about earlier, Kellen Reed is absolutely explosive playmaker, 292 receiving yards and 4 touchdowns this year so far. This kid is fast. Acceleration out of his breaks and top end speed is what sets him apart. And I got a quote from him here. Still his jump out there with a 41-inch vertical. I mean, smaller guy, but he can jump out of the gym. Or I should say the stadium. I mean, we're playing in a stadium, not a gym. But he also brings an edge.
Former hooper, though. Former hooper.
Yeah, that does not surprise me. I'm sure he can do windmills and dunks and everything, 360s. Obviously, heck of a kick returner as well. A heck of a kick returner as well. It sets him apart. It sets him apart. But, yeah, look for him down the field making big plays in this one. I think he runs one back today.
Okay.
Wow. I bet you Caleb Davis could do a 360 dunk as well. He's an absolute unit.
Kellen Reed might run a touchdown back and then put someone on a poster in the same game. That would be incredible.
That would hang on the goalpost thing. You probably get a fine. But
that would be awesome. That would be incredible. My pick, guys, on the Ferris side is a guy from the Bulldogs that we certainly need to talk about at the DB spot. I, of course, am referring to Justin Payout, the senior defensive back. He's 5'7", 170 pounds. We talked about a lot of physically imposing people. He might not be one when you look at the stats, look at the roster size, so to speak. This guy flies around with reckless abandon, and I think that's what you need to know about a lot of these guys they get from the Sunshine State, man. Ferris State has a legit pipeline into Florida. Justin is just one of the most recent success stories of what they've been able to go down to Florida and get talent acquisition-wise to help supplement this roster. This team had 5 interceptions a week ago, which was very impressive. And, you know, he's a big part of that. He's a big part of this defensive secondary that has continued to do a lot of really good things for this Ferris State squad. 5 interceptions and a half against Michigan Tech on the road. And I talked to him. He says the best part about playing for this defense is knowing that he's got 10 dogs around him, flying around and making plays. And also that if he does his 111th, he's bound to make plays. He trusts the system that he's in, that he's going to be put in the right spot to get after the ball carrier, to intercept the pass, to get his hand on a ball. He does all those things and more. And he said that Coach Annese is truly a father figure to him and many others, especially the guys like him that are a little bit further away from home in Sunshine State. What a cool deal, guys.
Very cool.
One coach told me, shout out Coach Sala, he said, controlled chaos, Manzo. Controlled chaos. I think this is Payout plays with a bunch of controlled chaos and a bunch of controlled anger as well.
Now, fellas, we're going to head to a little bit of a break. On the other side of the break, though, we are going to be joined by Ferris State royalty, Jason Vander Laan, the former quarterback from Ferris State, the 2-time Harland Hill winner. We're getting him up here on the desk live on the other side, so certainly stick with us and wait for that conversation. Back on the other side now, Small School Saturday, joined live at the desk by Ferris State royalty. He's a 2-time Harland Hill winner. He holds more records in Ferris and at the national level than maybe are even worth talking about, but of course the one you got to mention, the current NCAA season career rushing leader for quarterbacks, man. You have torn it up at this level. You've been a person that's name is synonymous with success at this university and at the next level after a great NFL career. Jason Vander Laan, thank you so much for joining the show today, man.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks,
I
Jason.
appreciate it. It's great
Such
to be
a
here,
pleasure.
guys.
Thanks for being on.
Thank you.
And I have to actually start the conversation with this, man. You got a Stormy Cromer on
I got
today?
Stormy Cromer on, man.
What a cool, as a Northern Michigan guy, as the UP guy,
Yeah.
what a sweet ad. And then got the Ferris logo on the side.
I had to get it. So my two buddies, actually, one was from Lance, way up in
Yes.
the UP.
Oh, yeah.
My other buddy's from St. Ignace, and they kind of got me on the Stormy Cromer train. And then saw that the university was collaborating with them, and I was like, I got to get one of those.
I love
I gotta
that.
wear it out
What
here.
a cool deal,
Yeah.
man. That is so awesome, and obviously a big-time matchup today, and you've had a lot of great achievements wearing these colors and for this university. I was told by a source, potentially, that your greatest achievement may have not come on the field. What can you tell me about saving wing night at Ferris State University?
Did you guys talk to Jake Doherty?
Oh, my God.
Who are you guys talking to out here?
It was Jake.
No, it was wing night is awesome. All right, so every Thursday, and this started my freshman year. All right, we had 2 different cafeterias, and Thursday night the football team was going to wing night. And
Okay.
unlimited wings. So it's like we all have you get unlimited wings, you get unlimited rock passes, whatever. So we'd go there, smash 30, 40 wings as freshmen. You're trying to put on weight, and then we got a new cafeteria that took away the old one. And like for a week or two, there was no wing night on Thursday night. Like we have a new new menu and whatnot. So then the newspaper, the local newspaper, the school newspaper, they interviewed me, and I was like, guys, like I love the building, but we need our wing night back.
I love it. I
And
love
then
it.
you resurrected
Get the
it.
priorities straight.
A couple weeks later, wing night's back, and then the next, I don't know if it's still going on or not, but for the next 5 years, we still had wing night.
And we were talking about Coach Nystrom a little bit, who was my head coach up at Northern. Like a semi-similar story. I was one of like the first 3 people to have COVID at Northern, and they put me in this dorm. I didn't see a person not in a hazmat suit for 7 days, and I remember Coach Nice calling me up, a Ferris product, right, from that Annese coaching tree. And he's very to the point, Cobe, how they treating you in there? I said, I'm not going to lie, Coach. It's tough trying to get a couple workouts in, whatever. Are they feeding you all right? I said, Coach, I got microwavable steak and Pop-Tarts. The next day, they're making trips from the dining hall and dropping off food for us
There
in
you
those
go.
dorms.
Yeah, it's important.
It's a fun deal, and sometimes all it takes is one voice, right?
Yeah.
It certainly does.
Yeah.
But the coach here, let's talk about Coach Annese, right? This has been the guy that we've talked a lot about today for very good reason. He obviously cared about your well-being when you were playing. He still does, I'm sure. You guys keep in touch, but he certainly could have fooled some people. Felt like there were some games in your playing days you might have carried the rock for 40-plus times. Talk about your durability and physicality that helped you run over a lot of these teams in the GLIAC.
Yeah, that was insane. Looking back on it, and I kind of forget about that. And I look and I was like,
It's
holy
not surprising,
cow,
not
I
surprising.
carried the ball 38 times that game or 40. I was like, what
It's
were
like
we
Derrick
doing?
Henry in high
I'm
school.
an offensive coordinator now, and I was like, I would never give the ball. It was like, at that point in time, Annese came here, and we were kind of transitioning from the old staff to the new staff.
Sure.
Trying to build a roster how he wanted it to be built, and that was kind of just what we had to do at that time to go. 7-4 our first year, and then we were 11-1 the next 2 years, and then undefeated. But like we kind of needed that situation. And when I was playing, I was 245 back in the day.
Yeah,
like
man.
I'm a lot smaller than that now, but that really helped for my durability and to be able
245
to
coming through the A gap with an
That's
extra
a lot of
blocker,
pounds to
right?
tackle.
With an extra blocker too.
Yeah,
I mean,
so
you're playing with basically 12 guys. That's
yeah,
wild.
and then started working a little bit, and once he sees somebody he likes, and we roll with it, and it working, and it's not being stopped, and we kind of had a coming out party versus Grand Valley, to be honest, my
Yes.
freshman year, where we lost to them like the previous 5 or 6 years in a row, and Ferris State had only won 1 out of the last 10. We go down to Grand Valley, and we just hammer it just over and over and over and over again. And it was 1 play in the first half, and then there was another play in the second half. We ended up beating them by 40 points, and everybody's like, what is going on? But it was kind of cool to see.
That's certainly a great way to put it. And now you obviously the long line of some great quarterbacks that have come through this program. What has that experience been like following as of late, of course, with guys that we kind of talked about earlier, whether it's Malik or Carson or Trinidad recently, now Wyatt leading the charge for this quarterback room. How do they keep finding this talent in Western Michigan specifically? And this room has been one of the best in the country, man.
Yeah, I think that's one of the coolest things is people are like, how did they find these? All these other coaches are recruiting. How did you guys get Trinidad? How did you guys get Wyatt? Why are they doing so good here? And it's all about the system. It's all about Coach Annese and what he's implemented here, and the plays that he's called, and just to get the team to rally around each other. Like you said, Trinidad, Wyatt right now is his first year. I mean, anybody that he's going to find, he's going to be able to fit that mold here. And they might not have had as much success in high school, but the way that he has this system here, it is designed for people to succeed. I mean, you obviously know he's a phenomenal play caller.
Yes,
and the stats, not just around the quarterback, with the running backs, receivers. I mean, they're averaging, 53 points a game. It's insane, the yards that they're putting up right now. I wish to say that we could have done that. You know, we thought we were good, averaging like 42, 43 points a game. It's crazy to see just the level that they're playing at right now.
He talked about playing to his quarterback strengths, and that was a really big piece of the offensive system. Any system he had, two things. One, the quarterback has to be athletic. You certainly fit the bill. Those guys I just named, they all fit the bill. Carson Golker, I mean, he's playing H-back and tight end right now for this team. We've barely talked about him today. He's going to be a difference maker, certainly this afternoon. How do you feel that Coach Annese really curtailed and tailored that offense when you guys were playing to your skill set and the guys around you?
Yeah, I think that's one of his best attributes, is because I see that now as a coach as well. You got to play to your athlete's
Rockford
strengths.
High School, correct?
Correct.
There you go.
Yeah. And then when Jared Bernhardt was here, who also had a chance in the NFL, and he made a team, an opening roster as a receiver after playing 1 year as a quarterback. I mean, what he was doing with Jared Bernhardt was substantially different than me, because he could juke and he was a little bit quicker on the edge, a little bit more triple option stuff, where I was a bigger, bulkier guy. I said some decent speed, but it was more downhill stuff.
Yes.
And it was like, he tailors everything to the strengths of those players. And I think that's why he's such a great offensive coordinator, because so many coaches nowadays are like, this is our system, this is what we're running no matter what.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, he's not going to say that. We're going to run what we can with the guys that we have, and we're going to tailor to those guys.
That's the mark of, one, a great coach, but also someone that is future-proof, right? Whenever you talk about these guys that have lasting legacies and that have built dynasties like the one here at Ferris State, they're guys that curtail each year by year and work around the strengths of their players and identify those weaknesses. Seth?
Yeah, Jason, I'm just wondering, as a two-time Harland Hill winner, when you win the first one and then you come back for the next year, is it something that you're thinking about on a daily basis? You're like, well, I won one, I might as well go win two. Or is it you're just kind of taking care of business? Or, you know, what's kind of the mindset after winning one and then trying to go win another?
Yeah, I think I didn't get mad at Annese a ton when I was playing, but after I won the first one, we came back in his spring ball, and he's like, you know, you didn't earn the starting quarterback job yet for next year. And I was like, all right. I was like, we've played this game every year for like 3 years. Like, can I at least maybe say like I'm the starter next year?
Coach.
And he's like, no, you got to go out there. I was like, all right, come on now. So going into that season, I didn't think about it. I mean, at that point in time, it's all about the team, guys. It's all about getting those wins.
Yeah.
I mean, we didn't end the season like we wanted to. We were undefeated. We lost in the second round of playoffs. It's like, at that point, you all you want to do is get to the national championship. And to this day, it still drives me nuts that we weren't able to go that far, and I think we were good enough to do it, and we just kind of fell short a little bit at the end. So I wasn't really thinking about it the next year, and then, you know, people talking and whatnot, and it was awesome that we were able to do it, but it was really just a team award with the guys that we had. It was awesome.
Very well said, and that is hilarious. That seems like very on brand for Coach Annese. I love that. I absolutely love that. Like, you haven't earned shit, man. Like,
That's great.
You got to come great to get this still. But you talked about the coming out party, so to speak, for that team against Grand Valley. This team's performed well against them too, obviously. You take a look here at the game day environment behind us, and if our Skycam wasn't crushed on the ground behind me, we'd probably cut to that right now. It just got knocked over behind the scenes.
Shout out Grand Valley.
Shout out some random passerby.
Absolutely.
But I would
Send
cut
them
to
a
that, but they'll be getting an invoice.
Yeah.
But you know, how has this game day environment and atmosphere evolved from your playing days? And obviously, you've been still involved. And you're still here supporting this program. How have you seen this game day and environment and atmosphere on Saturdays grow and evolve?
Yeah, it's really night and day. And honestly, the answer is, for any program, winning solves a lot of problems.
Yes, sir.
And it wasn't that it was a problem before, but now that we're winning, I mean, you see the people showing up here. You got the support from the staff. You got the support from the community, the support from the school now. I mean, President Pink's in here, and he's trying to change some stuff. We got a new AD. I mean, the old staff was doing great. Yeah, but, like, these new guys are all full speed ahead. Hey, we got to keep building this. And now we got thousands of people showing up here, and it's a cool environment, and it's exciting. It's exciting for me, like, wanting to bring my kids back to a place like this, coming up here. I mean, some people, people don't realize how much fun you can still have at Division II games.
Oh, yeah.
And how good the football is here. And truly, in my opinion, I mean, this team is going to compete with a lot of MAC schools, a lot of Division I schools. I mean, that's how good of the football it is. So, like, if you're not here, you got to come out here and you got to witness this, because it's a cool place to be.
Absolutely.
Go ahead and cut a promo, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I love it.
Ladies and gentlemen, the first quarterback in NCAA history to have 4 consecutive years of 1,000 rushing and
That's
passing
ridiculous,
yards.
by the way.
absurd.
Unreal.
That is
Jason
insane
Vander Laan,
stat.
thank you so much for joining us at the
Appreciate it,
desk, Jason.
Thanks for having me.
Absolute pleasure to meet you, man. Hey, shout out to you. So excited for this matchup this afternoon. You're all set, man. We'll check in after the show. Jason Vander Laan, everyone. What a guy. That is awesome. Yeah. That is great, man. That is great. And we'll move forward now.
Yeah, thank you. This is awesome, guys.
Thank you. I appreciate that, man. Thank you so much.
You guys got a full slate?
Now it is noon now, and of course, we're going to close out the show, guys. It is time for the game picks as we go around the country and decide our picks for the top games in Division II, Division III, and NAIA football, of course, culminating with the Anchorbone Classic, Ferris State and Grand Valley State, the game to watch in the nation in terms of D2 football that will take place behind us in 58 minutes, boys. We've got kickoff behind us. I'm excited for this atmosphere, but of course, first, we've got to start things off in the D2 realm. We got to lead up to that one. We've got Delta State going on the road to West Alabama in what will be a hostile environment with the Tigers. Jimmy, will it be Statesmen or Tigers in the first matchup?
So Delta State is -6.5. I do believe they're going to win this football game, but they're not going to cover the 6.5. So give me Delta State outright to win this one.
And I took West Florida last week in an underdog pick against, or West Alabama, last week in an underdog pick over West Florida. And part of me says I don't want to make the same mistake twice. I do not feel it is a mistake to bet with Spencer Arsenault and Coach Cochran over there. I have so much confidence in this team. That game was ultimately very competitive. I was shown a lot of promise from that game and those results. Give me the Tigers. I'm sticking with them.
Yeah, Jimmy had an absolute monster day last Saturday.
Yeah, you know what? Shout out to Jimmy.
So
to the picks.
I'm kind of feeling like I wanna just go with what Jimmy says a lot of times, but I'm smarter than that. I have more discipline than that. So absolutely, give me West Alabama.
Wow. Seth and I disagreeing. It never happens ever.
No, it certainly doesn't, man. Well, Cade, go ahead and close it out.
I think those two just do it for the plot at this point, right? Yeah. I'm going to go with Nick Clark and the Delta State team. I'm with Jimmy. I don't think they're going to cover, but I think they win on a late field goal or a late touchdown.
I like that a lot, and that, of course, means when we have a split pick, we have not shown the person behind the camera today, and she might need to make her first appearance. And, of course, the freeze frame. That was unfortunate. I am going to get it sorted. Let's make sure the camera is actually functioning as it is supposed to here.
Oh, boy.
And
oh my God.
we're a little overexposed, Allie. I think we can actually technically see you, but oh my goodness. Let me work on this this brightness here. I don't know if I'm actually going to be able to fix this, Allie. I apologize.
That is okay. I think I'd prefer to not be on video.
Are you serious?
People are at home are like, is she on the sun?
Oh my gosh, she's glowing.
Audio,
she's actually, Allie, you're glowing. You're
She's
glowing.
on the sun right
We
now.
can see you a little bit, but it is it's brutal. So I'll keep the camera on us. I apologize. But you've got Delta State, you've got West Alabama. It's a split pick right now. Will it be the Statesmen or will it be the Tigers?
I'm going to go Tigers.
Yes!
Allie's first pick.
First pick on Small School
go,
Saturday,
Hopefully
guys.
I beat Gavin and Eli.
That makes me feel good about my pick now.
And fellas, we do have to cut to the actual game picks records. Of course, we alluded to it. Jimmy and I are now tied for first place.
Look at that.
27-13. Cade is still bringing up the rear at 18-22, and Seth is on our tails at 24-16. That is a culmination of all the game day.
I'm
show
done
picks
being nice.
This year.
I'm done being nice.
9-1 last week, by the way, for your boy right here. 9-1.
Done being nice.
And the only game I lost was freaking Linfield. They were 16.5-point favorites. I could have went 10-0 last week.
Yeah, they got beat.
Come on, Linfield.
That actually is
Should have
insane.
known, brother.
We'll move forward in the D2 slate, though. Ashland going on the road at Tiffin. The Dragons are favored by 3.5 at home, Jimmy.
I got the Dragons -3.5. I think they're going to cover, and they're going to win.
I am going to second that pick. I talked about Ronald Blackman earlier. I feel like a recipe for success for Tiffin today. He hasn't really gotten the workload that we've come to associate with him out of the backfield for Tiffin. I think he needs to have a lot to do with this offense today. He's going to get much more of a workload, more carries, more production than we've seen the last 2 weeks combined.
Back in like 2017, I believe, I was sent a recruiting graphic by somebody at Tiffin. I don't know who that was, but shout out to them. And safe to say, I did not go to Tiffin, but I will pick you today because of that nice graphic you sent me back in 2017.
Yeah, I'm going to go the Dragons here as well.
Wow.
It's only 3.5 6.5-point spread, and we swept the board.
That's actually pretty crazy. Like I talked about, though, in that matchup, the last 4 games have all been won by the home team. The Dragons are hosting today, so that certainly could come into play. We'll see about that, fellas, but we'll keep things going. In terms of Division II, our last one for the slate is the Coal Bowl. Cal PA taking on IUP, and this one is going to be definitely an exciting one. Jimmy, who is your pick to take home the dub?
You know, I find it interesting they get rewarded with coal because, like, on Christmas, you're bad, you get coal, you know?
No, this is great in their profession.
But this is good coal. This is good coal. And the Indiana, Pennsylvania is going to win the Coal Bowl today.
Wow, okay. You're taking the Crimson Hawks. I am going to go on the other side of that. I'm going with the Vulcans. And this team, under Purcell at quarterback, has really impressed me. They, of course, had a little bit of a blemish on the record and got upset very recently. I think they bounce back in a big way. They win the Coal Bowl here.
I'm going to take the team from Pennsylvania. The California team from Pennsylvania. No particular reason, but give me California.
Yeah,
Cade, who will it be?
I'm going to go with my partner here and say Cal PA wins this game.
And Jimmy may continue his streak of the one-offs here. He's done a very good job of it. We'll see if that streak and that trend continues. We've got Cal PA, the consensus is
behind us
in that one. And holy cow, check out behind us. We, of course, do not have the sky cam or else I'd cut to it. But behind us right now.
You don't need a sky cam to see this marvelous marching band. Do they have a name? What's the marching band name?
That's a great question. That's a great question. We've got the marching band of the Dogs making their way to Top Taggart Field here in Big Rapids, Michigan. You can feel those drums.
Feel to my heart, feel to my soul.
Electric. What a neat deal, guys. Brilliant. And I'll tell you, this is, I believe, the first year they've really started to incorporate the marching band at these games.
I love a good band.
Yeah,
I love a good band.
What that does for an environment and an atmosphere, it just makes a game like this that much better. And from someone who's seen some empty football games, it can make an empty game feel full. It just adds that sound and that environment. So really cool to see that here
No doubt.
at Ferris
If you've
State.
ever played a game at Eau Claire, you will know that a band can really have an effect on a team.
There you go. There you go.
The band is literally a full bleacher wide, and it's right behind the away stand, so it's awful to play.
Let's get to our Division III picks. We've got Carnegie Mellon favored by more than a touchdown on the road at Muhlenberg.
It's always tough to go on the road and win, especially cover. And I think Carnegie Mellon is going to do both today. They're going to cover a hefty 7.5-point spread and get the job done. I like what they're doing this season.
I feel bad picking the favorites in a lot of these matchups, but I said it earlier. Carnegie Mellon's the best 4-2 team in the country. Coach Larson and company have a lot of confidence in them, and they've played very well against top competition. I think they get the job done today against the Mules.
Yeah, I don't disagree here. I really wanted to pick Muhlenberg, but I just can't at this current point. They've played two unbelievable teams. So, give me Carnegie.
Cade, once again.
Yeah, and I've been telling myself I was going to take Muhlenberg after looking at their, looking up a little, just quick notes on them earlier, doing the write-ups on the teams. But, like you said, Carnegie Mellon just played a better schedule, just more prepared. I think they just get the job done. I think it's a clean sweep.
It is the math over there. The Tartans, one of the highest academic institutions in America.
Phenomenal, I believe, acting school as well.
We will see if we were the smart ones for all taking the Tartans in today's matchup. Let's keep things going. WIAC matchup now. UW Platteville. They are a 2-point dog on the road at UW Whitewater, Jimmy.
So I remember last week there was only one person who picked Platteville. I forgot who it was.
I did too, actually.
It might have been me. I don't know, but I'm gonna take Platteville again on the road at Perkins Stadium. They're 2-point underdogs in this, what should be a defensive bloodbath at 39.5 points for that point total. Give me the Pios and Ryan Munns today.
You know what I picked against Platteville last week is a terrible mistake. A terrible mistake on my part, but. They're going to Perkins Stadium today, boys, and that is something that is very, very hard to overcome.
Oh, no.
Thankfully for Platteville, that Whitewater offense does not stand a chance.
Come on.
Platteville is absolutely going to roll on the road. I think they pick up another big-time win, and they start to level the ship. I think their roller coaster of emotions starts to level out, and they're playing really good football right now.
Yeah, honestly, as soon as the pick now went to me, I still had no idea who I was going to pick, because guess what? This is going to be a tight football game up in the perk. But I am not going to make the same mistake and choose Platteville.
Wow.
That axe is staying home. That axe is staying home. Platteville is going to win this game, boys.
This is not the direction I saw this pick going. The home team, the favored team, down 3-0.
Now listen, I was not familiar with this Platteville squad. I went into that game last weekend, 2 weekends ago. What was it? Last weekend?
Last weekend.
But
yeah.
I said that there was no way they're going to lose that game, and they did. In fact, or there's no way they're going to win that game, and they did in fact win. I will not be betting against this Nears squad anymore. Shout out my boy Trevor Sicey. You know that he's going to have a game today. Go Nears.
Got me feeling Sicey.
This is getting me nervous a little bit.
That's actually
well,
ridiculous.
dude,
we're all picking against Whitewater at Whitewater.
That quarterback for lacrosse kept them in that football game. They kept that in that football game. And I'm sorry, Klinkner he's not as good as Kyle Haas, right? So that D-line for Platteville is going to absolutely wreak havoc.
To me, yeah, it'll be the offense. It'll be the line. It'll be the line of scrimmage that'll determine that one, as it does in most of college football. But finally, potentially the game of the week in the ARC Central, the Dutch going on the road at Wartburg. The Knights are favored by 9 points. Jimmy, who do you got?
LGK. Let's go Knights Wartburg.
Wow, that was quick.
Big win today. I think they win by 14.
They can win by 14 points.
Yep.
They're not going to score 14.
17-3.
They're not going to score 14 points. I'll tell you
I
that.
am also going to take Wartburg, but I'll tell you this. I think Central covers. That 9-point spread is too much. Central, the Dutch will cover in this one. The Knights, ultimately, though, Waverly's still the place to be for the ARC.
Yeah, again, I this is such a tough pick for me, but, man, oh, gosh. I actually, boys, I still don't know. Like, right now, I'm like, I don't know. Like, I thought about this. I went back and forth over and over again. But I think Central was much better last year. Like when I was coaching for Simpson, they were much better last year. That Wartburg defensive line is just way too good. I would love to pick Central here. I know a lot of guys on that staff, but Wartburg's just so good. It's going to be hard to pick against them, boys.
Central 6-3. Book it.
It saves the graphic.
Book it.
I was hoping you were going to say
6-3,
Central.
and it'll be 3 safeties.
It'll be 6-3, and it'll be yeah, exactly. 3
safeties
punts that
and a
roll
field
out of the
goal.
end zone. It's gonna be pouring rain.
I can see it.
Pouring rain. It's gonna slip through the punter's hands.
Gross.
What if it's like 5-4?
Whitewater knows something about that.
Couple
I hope it's a
field goal and a
40-point.
safety.
Or a field goal and a 1-point safety. Yeah,
I
4
love
points.
some grimy football. Now, as we move to NAIA, we are 3 games away from picking the winner of the Anchorbone Classic here, live from Ferris State, Grand Valley State, fellas. 3 more game picks to get to before we make the ultimate pick to close out the show. And Jimmy, to start off NAIA, we've got Marion on the road at Olivet Nazarene.
No, I've been taking a lot of favorites today, and that trend is going to continue.
Yeah.
I got Marion -6.5, and they're going to cover. I think a lot of the favorites are going to cover today. I mean, on the road at Olivet Nazarene, I think you're going to need to score 40 points to win this football game today.
You know what? I was actually about to pick Marion until you just said that. You're going to need to score 40. Olivet Nazarene's going to score 40. Give me them to take this one.
Ooh, I like it.
Well, Mary and I disagree with you, Kobe. Give me Marion to roll today.
Hey, let me tell you something.
Not my best, but I'll claim it.
Well, you know what, Seth? I disagree with you. Give me Olivet Nazarene today.
Allie,
who do you got?
And now Allie has the opportunity with this split pick. Will it be the Knights from Marion, or will it be their foes, the home team, in Olivet Nazarene?
Give me the Knights to slaying the Tiger.
Oh! Let's see if she's still glowing over there. Oh, there she is! Allie Kroll behind the desk. What do you have to say to the people in your camera switching debut?
Please give me grace. This was really hard.
You've been fantastic
You've been
today,
great, Allie.
and now you've made your pick, and now we can actually see you. This is fantastic. To me, guys, the difference maker for here is you look at what Olivet Nazarene has done in the past and what they did against a very quality Indiana Wesleyan team, and they stood 10 tones down for 4 quarters against one of the best teams in the Midwest and one of the best teams in the country. I feel like they have the ability in all phases. We're going to need to see that in all phases, but let's go on. Friends, favored by only 2.5 on the road at Southwestern, Jimmy.
Give me Southwestern.
What the hell?
Yes!
Give me Southwestern.
I love parity. Let's go.
Give me Southwestern in this one.
I
At
love
home.
it.
Jennifer Aniston's great, but Southwestern. Come on.
And so are the Falcons from Friends. I mean, this is a no-brainer. There's no way to build that up. Friends University again.
I got a good one.
I love watching this team. It's the most exciting, boring brand of football in the world, and they are great at it. They're physical. They are dominant in every phase of the game. Seth.
You know, early on, I know this is D3, but Wheaton let me down early, and I'm not ever going to go back to picking Wheaton. Sorry, but Friends not let me down yet at all this year. Give me Friends again to roll.
Okay. Yeah, you know how they do the Seminole chop at Florida State? Like, Friends does the F-U. F-U. Give me Friends with this one. Come on.
Oh, and Jimmy saves the graphic.
They definitely play a brand of FU football over there in every way, shape, and iteration of the word and the phrase, guys. We've got one more game to pick here in the NAIA slate, guys. That is down south in the Sunshine State, and that is Southeastern going on the road to take on St. Thomas. St. Thomas 7.5-point favorites in this one.
St. Thomas is going to extinguish the fire from Southeastern today. Give me St. Thomas.
I'm going to roll with you, Jimmy. I saw that Southeastern team get upset by Weber International, and I just have lost a lot of confidence in that squad. They still have a lot of really good things going for them in 2025. I don't think they have what it takes to take down STU.
Before I make my pick, I also want to give a big shout-out to Maisie. She is the one that takes all those great photos that you see that allow us to make some other graphics.
We need you on the camera down here. We need you on the camera down here.
Yeah, get down there. Get down
the
there.
Support crew.
Yes, of course.
Oh, right in the back. Right
there
she is. A little bit. You get at least to see her, the shoes. Yes,
she's got some great New Balances on, but Maisie does a phenomenal job. She's incredible at what she does. I want to give her her flowers as well. Maisie, who should I take? St. Thomas? Should I take St. Thomas or should I take Southeastern? St. Thomas, I love it.
The consensus pick. The consensus pick. Cade, what will it be?
Yeah, I'm now going to pan to my girlfriend. Who should I take? St. Thomas? All right, yeah, give me St. Thomas.
That's good.
She does a great job, too.
She does not exist as well, everybody.
She keeps me in line every weekend. So
it's like the guy in Fight Club, right?
We gotta get that figured
Where
out. But
is
now,
my mind?
Now, fellas, this is the pick that I think we have all been waiting for, boys. We're talking, of course, about the Acrebone Classic. Ferris State playing host to Grand Valley State in what is undoubtedly going to be one of the best games in all of Division II football today and this season. The stakes have maybe never been higher for these teams. Very excited to talk about these squads, but first, let's hear from both of these teams about the matchup ahead.
They fly around. They got guys. We got guys. It's going to be it's an Acrebone matchup. It's going to be a battle.
But set the tone, man. Come out from the first place. Set the tone. Be nasty, be aggressive, know what we're doing.
They're nasty, they're wild, they don't care. They're, physically and mentally tough. We're the same way. We're smart, we're physical, we're fast, we're violent.
No, we know that they're going to take a couple shots. They do every year. Even though they lost last week, we know that this is going to fill them up even more.
They're searching for the ball. They get to the ball. It's a very competent group too, and it's going to be a good one.
They got a good offense. We're trying to take away the key reads and hit them in the mouth early. I think we'll be good to go, honestly. So
yeah, obviously it's going to be hostile. And they're fast on the edge. Their O-line's nasty. They got a willing quarterback. It's going to be a great challenge for us, and we're excited for it.
Yeah, it's going to be rocking, man. I mean, it's going to be crazy, and it's going to be packed. So it's going to be a great environment. It's going to be very exciting.
Now for the final pick on Small School Saturday, and we've got a very exciting one. Will it be Ferris State, the Bulldogs, who have won 3 of the last 4 national championships? Or will it be Scott Wooster, who has a winning record against those Dogs, bringing his Lakers to town here at Top Taggart Field in Big Rapids, Michigan? Jimmy, you, of course, get to start us off with the pick.
So, to my knowledge, when you go to a funeral, you wear all black. Today might be the funeral of the Grand Valley State season. Give me Ferris State today. Give them their 3rd loss. Make it really tough for them to get in the playoffs. Go Bulldogs!
There have been a couple things that have gone into my picks the last couple of weeks. I've had a really bad tendency of picking against the away team. And, the more I talk to these Grand Valley State guys and I heard from them about the composure inside of that building, that facility, I thought to myself, Grand Valley State might come in here and really pull something special off. But then I talked with Wyatt Bauer, and I saw that beautiful head of hair. And then we had a Grand Valley State schmuck come by and knock over the sky cam and break the sky cam. He will be getting an invoice. And then we talk with Coach Annese, and you see what Trinidad has done at the next level. All these guys, the greats from Ferris, guys like Jason who come back and support this program. I will not pick against the home team today. Ferris State, they roll in Big Rapids.
Ferris State, right? They are the reigning, the defending. Won 3 out of the last 4.
Indeed.
Hard to pick against them, boys. But you know what? Ooh. I believe in Scott Wooster.
Wow.
I believe in my boy Brad Bez. And I believe that anchor is going down. Give me Grand Valley to whoop some ass today, baby.
We're keeping this away from him.
Yeah, keep that away from Seti.
Continue the
Don't be a hero. Don't be a hero.
I'm not going to play any hero ball here today. I mean, only thing I've seen from Grand Valley's fans today is just smiles and happiness. And to be completely honest with you, I don't know what the hell they're happy about. You're about to play the #1 team in the country, and in my eyes, you're going to get your ass kicked. So go Dogs, roll Dogs, Ferris State by 10+.
Go Bulldogs.
Those are the final picks. The Anchorbone Classic set to kick off here in 49 minutes in Big Rapids. They will, of course, be playing for this very trophy. An exciting day of Division II football and football all across the country. Those are the final picks. Ferris State is the consensus pick to take home the victory at home today and continue their run to what might be another national title coming back to Big Rapids, fellas. This has been a phenomenal show. Very much a big thank you to everyone who has tuned in, whether it be on YouTube, X, or otherwise. A big thank you from the fellas, Cade Manzo, Seth Howard, Jimmy Martin, Allie Kroll behind the cameras, Maisie Burke behind her own camera, and of course, I'm your host, Kobe Manzo, live from Ferris State in Big Rapids. For Division I Rejects, I'm Kobe Manzo, signing off for Small School Saturday.
See ya!